live and I'll get going.
I just tweeted out.
Checking sure that my Twitch is.
Yes, you did, because there it is.
My Twitch is.
You saw my tweet.
I did.
Yeah, I like to try and promote, help out.
All right, I think I see.
Yeah, we're live now.
I see Twitch. I see YouTube. We're good.
Are we good? Okay, here we go. Sorry.
La la la.
I need
la,
to do.
la, la.
Yeah, I know. Hang on, I want to check one thing before we. I should have already checked this, but I want to be. I want to get it. I want to see if I'm signed into Restream chat, and I'm not. It'll distract me, but I want to see it. I've got to hang on, Jesse, real quick. I've got to get the password for that out of our drive.
No problem.
I don't understand. Like sometimes on my system, it just resets, and then I have to go in and do the password all over. Probably a safety feature. Restream, where are you? You know, it's bad. I noticed I'm starting to get older because I'm having to lean in to like squint at things. That's real fun. And me and my wife both admitted the other day that there's things that we can't read if we don't have like good light on it. It's like, put some light on that so I can see it. And we're getting old. Hey, I'm on Restream chat. Nice. Yay. Okay. I'm ready to go. Here we go. In 3, 2. Welcome to Nintendo Dads, episode 378, recorded on June 2nd, 2022. On tonight's episode, we talk about upcoming Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet news, Nintendo hotfixing Kirby 64 so you don't get a game-breaking bug, and lots more with our special guest, Barry Carenza from NintendoFuse. Jesse, you know what to do. Hit that music. Hey, what's up, everybody? Thanks for listening to Nintendo Dads. It's episode 378. We are live on June the 2nd, 2022, and I am joined tonight by Nintendo Dads 7-year Employee of the Year, Jesse Waldack, and our special guest, Barry Carenza. We'll get to him in just a minute. But Jesse, how are you doing, buddy?
Pretty good. I did a little shopping this weekend. I'll talk about that later on. And
I know what it's about, and I'm jealous.
Yeah. I dropped some hints in Twitter and Discord as well. So it should be a fun conversation. I also let the Retro Logic people know about what I bought.
Oh, yeah. I bet they're jealous as well. I'm sure.
Yeah. And when I do live stream test of what I purchased, they said, let us know when you go live. We want to watch this.
Yes.
So I'll stop there and we'll talk about it more later.
And if I'm not mistaken, you can help me out with this. You guys are currently unable to cook food at your house.
Not easily. We currently we gutted our kitchen to have it completely remodeled. We have our gas stove still up there, so we can use it. We can cook, but there's nothing else in the kitchen. So if we need to do prep, like chopping up potatoes, we have to do it in another room and then bring it over.
That's what the subfloor is there for. You're not going to see that again. Just put the onions right there. Put the potatoes, chop, 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 chop. Little sawdust is good for your diet. It's fiber.
Yeah, there's a whole Matt Pet food theory video about eating a tree.
Yeah. I mean, it'll just go right through you. Or it should. I mean, I don't know. Also joining us on the show tonight, from the NintendoFuse podcast and good friend of the show, Barry Carenza. How you doing, buddy?
How you doing, Nick? Thank you so much for having me.
Listen, I know I'm from the South, and we talk funny down here. I hope I'm saying your last name right.
No, you actually said it correctly, which is great. I'm one of those kids that, when you would have the substitute teacher in school and it'd be like, oh, they're totally going to mess up all these names. I can't wait to correct them. They never messed up my name. I don't know why. Maybe, it's one of those names that you may look and go, oh my God, I'm going to mess this up. But
they messed up my name.
It's said just as it's spelled. So you did excellent. But no, thank you so much for having me here. It's a pleasure.
I could say the same about mine, and they still managed to mess it up.
Yeah. My wife's name is Erin, and she had a teacher for an entire semester call her Ernie.
Oh my God.
And on the last day of class, she said, "Your name's not Ernie, is it?" And everybody's like, because she said that like she every day she would say it's Erin, and other people would call it out. Her name is Erin. Teacher just barrels on, and not Erin like Aaron, Erin, like the Aaron. The other one I always thought should be pronounced Aaron, but and there are people here in the South that pronounce all Aarons that way. They're Aaron, where are you, Aaron? Yeah.
Oh, that's got to be annoying.
There's a lot of things that are annoying here in the South that like people come in down here and they're like, that's really annoying. And it's really not. Like we get used to it. And we were born in it, molded by it, you know?
All right, Bane.
So anyway, we're going to give you an opportunity later on to meet Barry a little bit more and find out more about his show, NintendoFuse, and where you can go find them. You definitely want to go check them out. But for now, we're going to jump into the plethora of news we have this week, right?
Yeah, good chunk.
Yeah, if plethora is a word you can use.
Sure, let's do it.
It is a word.
Before we start, Tony Baker in the chat, when he made the comment about the Fleshy Jesse thing from last week, he said he literally spit out his coffee when he heard that.
I'm
kind of intrigued. I missed this.
If you're not a regular listener of the show, when Jesse does his Pokémon in recent episodes, we have had him or Jesse has employed the use of Robo Jesse to get through those.
A Texas Beats engine powered by Amazon.
Yeah, nice. He employed Robo Jesse back when he was having a sore throat and just generally not feeling well. And Robo Jesse powered him through and was a hit. People wanted more of Robo Jesse. Last week on the show, Robo Jesse called Jesse Fleshy Jesse, which was disturbing and odd, but also
Marty and Justin both. They wanted to laugh, but they kept it in because their laughter would have been louder than the Texas Beach voice. So good job on keeping that together. I was impressed.
Hey, I'm going to say this
right now. The look on both of your faces is awesome.
I'm going to say this right now because I know we're going to have people listening to this both live and on the audio version. This is a t-shirt idea. We need a Robo Jesse versus Fleshy Jesse t-shirt. I need to see some designs.
And like like Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat?
Like a Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat pose. If you can do that, we'll put you whoever.
I was gonna say you could do it like the when you select your characters in like Street Fighter, you have the big portraits with the verses in between.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. And so if you send us that, we'll put you in a drawing. If a lot of people do that, we'll put you in a drawing for a free game. That's what we do. Justin's not here. I can do whatever I want tonight. Oh man, here we go. When I said plethora of news, when I said plethora of news, I want you to understand that was extreme hyperbole. We have 2 news items tonight.
Yeah, 2 bullets.
It's a slow week for video games because we are coming up to what should normally be E3 week that we're not going to get because things are terrible and horrible. We did get Pokemon news, but we also got more important news that there's been an update to the Nintendo 64 app on the Switch, which has fixed a game-breaking bug that was reported last week for Kirby 64. Basically, if you got hit underwater, there could be a game-breaking bug occur that would lock your game, and you would have to reset, and it would erase all the data as well. That is now
fixed. It wouldn't erase the data.
That's not true.
Not erase the data?
No, you could still.
I thought it did.
No, it's soft. The menu still worked. So
gotcha.
it just locked Kirby into the stun animation, so you couldn't move anymore. But you can say start, exit level, re-enter the level, and try it again.
Yes. You are correct. You are correct. Thank you for correcting me. Max showing me live on the show.
It was Paper Mario that deleted data, and I'm still upset about that.
That's right. Paper Mario did delete data. So now the Nintendo Switch Online has been updated to 2.3.1. So if you've not gone and done that, go right now. Grab your Switch, hit the plus button, update that app, and end up not playing Kirby 64 because really, who's playing Kirby 64?
Actually, funny story about that. Kirby 64 is one of those games I skipped because 64 was in the high school era and I didn't have a lot of money. So I decided, you know what? I'm at a point where I could actually go back and play Kirby 64 now and do it. And I absolutely encountered that bug, and it was really annoying using save states to try and get past it. And I finally said, screw it. And the next day the patch went live, so I was able to finish the game. So that bug actually did affect me.
You know, Barry, I'm glad that you mentioned that because I missed Kirby 64 as well. I did not own this game, as well as not owning Kirby's Dreamland 3 because I couldn't find it in stores because it was a very late title for the Super Nintendo. I remember trying in vain to find it and Mega Man X3 in physical form and could not find them. I didn't play Mega Man X3 until way later. But I did not expect Kirby 64 to be as good as it is. There's some flaws. There's some problems. The number one problem is, and I think they address this well with Kirby and the Forgotten Land, is most Kirby games play like you're moving through molasses. And Kirby 64 is the worst of those.
Yes.
It's so slow. But like Kirby, I feel like Kirby and the Forgotten Land, they gave him a speed boost, made him feel a little more speedy, made him feel a little more agile. This game, though, I do love the combining of the powers. I think that's a really cool mechanic. I would love to see that return.
That's a cool mechanic, but of all the Kirby games, it's one of my least favorite of the traditional Kirby games. And
really,
I did not like what they did with a lot of the power-ups. Like Cutter is one of my favorites of all time, and I think Kirby 64's Cutter is hot garbage. Just complete hot garbage.
Yes.
I was like, oh, what did you do to this is terrible. My God.
Who thought it would be a good idea for him to throw his body?
I know, and then you can't do
and like it not be there.
It's so bad.
It's totally vulnerable. Although I really feel like if you get the cutter and the bomb and combine them to the ninja star, you can go through the entire game. Yes. That's it.
That's the best combination.
Hold on to that. You've beat the game. That's it. So yeah, that is available now. But let's move on to the big news here, which is the second trailer for Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet, which began to show us our first look at the world, as well as lots of other details. Here's some things that we learned from the trailer. This is going to be the first open world RPG in the Pokemon series. There's also new characters that were revealed in this trailer, Professor Sada and Professor Turo, as well as your hot friend and rival Nimona. Come on, guys.
Well, like hell, even the professors are hot. So,
like, can we just say best rival ever in a Pokemon game?
Yeah. And the player is still a potato, but everyone else is hot.
Well, if you want to talk about hot, Lechonk.
Yeah.
Man.
Oh, that Pokemon, dude. I saw
of the 5 new Pokemon that they shown, and we'll get to those in a minute. Lechonk is the only one that they named in the trailer. The other 4 they showed but didn't show what the name is.
Yeah, they don't go to the website because they knew when they dropped my Chonky boy, then nobody else was going to care about any other Pokemon, and we don't. Yeah.
Roger has already declared.
Who cannot love Lechonk?
Roger has already declared Lechonk is in my party, and he will be there until the end.
Yes. You know what he really reminds me of, Jesse? Let's go back really far here into the anime database and pull this out. He's Peachan from Ranma Half.
Yes.
That's why I love him so much, because Peachan was my favorite character from Ranma Half. So
speaking of shows that we only saw part of from the pre-show, I stopped watching it midway through the second season just because I hated the grandpa character.
Yeah. So, hey, let me just say this. Ding Ding Mecha Dragon. That's my one anime reference for the year. Yes, I used to watch anime. No, I don't watch it anymore. There you go. Ranma Half. That's what it's called. If you haven't watched it, you need to. It's a really good series. Lots of memorable characters.
Don't watch it with your parents around.
No. Watch with kids either.
Or young
Don't watch
kids.
with kids. Don't let your kids watch it. Anyway. What were we talking about? Oh, yeah, Pokemon. The biggest thing
by Ron
here's the thing. Like, let's talk about the biggest thing probably shown off in this trailer that captured the most attention from the most people, and that is 4-player online co-op for the first time in a Pokemon game. You're going to be able to meet up with your friends and go on Pokemon adventures throughout the world. I mean, what can I say here, guys? It really looks cool. From there, it was the Pokemon were revealed. We're going to talk about them right now. We talked about Lechonk, which is the greatest Pokemon of all time. Also revealed was Palmy, yet another electric type mouse Pokemon.
Yeah, that's the Pikachu clone.
Come on, guys.
Every generation needs to have a Pikachu clone.
No, they don't. They have Pikachu. That's what they have. And it's already confirmed that Pikachu's in the game. So why do we need a Palmy?
Maybe when he evolves, he's an electric something else. That's a new combo type.
Well, that's a good electric rat Pokemon. Then I don't know. Electric. Oh, why couldn't it be like an electric gerbil Pokemon or an electric hamster?
We had that last.
Its attack would be to run on a wheel, and it shoots the wheel across, and it's electric.
Yeah, we had that last season with the hangry mode and the.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. What was his name? Morpeko.
I don't remember.
I think his name was Morpeko.
I don't remember.
So Lechonk's also shown off. Palmy, Smoliv has been shown off. I love this. Grass normal type olive Pokemon, as well as the two legendaries shown off, Koraidon and Miraidon. Which right now I'm going to go ahead and say this: hashtag Team Miraidon for life. All right, that's who I'm going with. I've already confirmed it. I'm Pokemon Violet all the way.
I'm on the fence. I like Miraidon, but I also like Sada. So
I'm Scarlet. So
okay, so we're buying we're going to go ahead and buy the double pack, right? Me and my son, we always buy the double pack, and his YouTube channel is Red Warrior Network, so he was immediately going to go Scarlet, and I was like, are you going Scarlet? Like, I think you are. And he's like, oh, yeah, definitely. And as soon as he saw the red dragon Pokemon, too, he was all in. I was like, good, because I was really going to have to fight you for Violet. Because I love the design of that, like jet charged turbo carbon fiber beak, digitized eyes, Miraidon.
Yeah, they're both designed that looks like you can ride them as a mount.
Yeah. That's interesting. Here's something else that's interesting. Very observant, very smart people on the internet have already deciphered that both professors' names are shortened Spanish words for past and future.
Yeah.
And if you look at their names, Professor Pasada, which means past, and Professor Futuro, which means future, they both look, I mean, she's a caveman, basically, and he's like from the future. So is there going to be time travel in this Pokemon game?
That'd be interesting.
That's kind of what I'm thinking of. Kind of expanding on what they started with in Arceus. Except for Arceus, it went one way and never went back. Here, you might go back and be able to go back and forth.
So at the very end of the trailer, I thought this was something that was like the new Pokemon group or Pokemon company logo was going to pop up. There's like this, almost like a sea of glass panels or something.
Yeah, I don't know what that was.
And there's a Pokeball that comes through it, and then it just kind of stops in the middle. And I was like, oh, it's going to say Pokemon Company. But it never did. Some people are speculating that could be something alluding to the gimmick that's in this. And I think it's time travel. I think we're going to go back and forth.
I think that's a great idea. It's something they haven't done, and it's something that's proven, in other Nintendo properties, right? You have Legend of Zelda has done it multiple times, and it's worked really well. And another IPs have absolutely done that as well. So I'd like to see them do that, especially if there's, the whole thing of Pokemon is evolution, and humans and animals have evolved over decades and millennia. So it'd be really cool to see some more prehistoric Pokemon, because we already had like Aerodactyl, Kabuto, all those extinct Pokemon. You go back and catch them, and then in the future those are extinct and there's new Pokemon that have taken over.
What if there's this thing in the game where you have to leave a Pokemon in the past and then come get it in the future?
That's some Maniac Mansion or Day of the Tentacle stuff right there, actually.
Well,
I'm all for that.
Chrono Trigger did something similar with.
Yeah. You left Robo in the past, working on the desert, and then you got to the end, and you go get him in the future.
And then there's like the Sunrock that you put in the past and let it charge for 60 billion years.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Man, yes, there's some good stuff there. Absolutely.
Yeah. And so someone in the chat said, they could use time travel to bring in the Hisui Pokemon that has never been in any other game.
That's true. And I mean, there's a very. Let me ask you this: Did you play Pokemon Sword and Shield?
I did.
What did you think of Pokemon Sword and Shield when they like go back to when they released? What did you think about them then, and what about now?
Well, just as a quick history with Pokemon, I was there from the beginning. We're Pokemon Red, Blue. I loved Pokemon up until probably Diamond, Pearl. I just couldn't get through them, and I stopped. I didn't do Black and White or Black. I tried Black and White 2 a little bit, and X and Y brought me back a little bit. Sun and Moon I didn't even touch, and then Sword and Shield. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna come back into this. I just did Let's Go.
Your path is like 95% my path.
Yeah, and I think it's a lot of our paths. And I really enjoyed Sword and Shield. I know a lot of people didn't like it, and I was like, you know what? It's formulaic, but I like the ideas that they're trying to do, like with the wild area. Having fun with the wild area. I enjoyed the post game. I thought the story was cool. I liked the setting. Was it a terribly difficult game? No, but I'm at that age where I don't really need a terribly difficult game. I'm just fine playing a game and enjoying myself. And I really did overall enjoy Sword and Shield. Was it my game of the year? Absolutely not. Was it the best Pokemon game? Absolutely not. But I do think it gets a lot of hate that I don't agree with. But that's everyone's opinion. You're allowed to that. For me, I really did enjoy my time with it. That being said, Arceus blew it away in every way possible. Arceus was the game I wanted on N64 as a kid. In high school, that's the game I wanted. So, Sword and Shield was good. Arceus was better.
Well, yeah, I mean, let's be honest.
The best Pokemon game of all time. I put 100.
Yeah, I mean, it's the Pokemon game that everybody who's ever played Pokemon always wanted, right? Yeah. And I'm 3 hours into it, and I put it down and went, oh, other game, shiny, and I need to come back to it. It's in my backlog. So, and I'm conquering my backlog one game at a time. We'll talk about that later on in the show. But the reason I ask you that, Barry, is that I like when Sword and Shield came out, and even when we were getting periodic updates, like almost monthly updates leading up to Sword and Shield, right? There was a lot of people. There was a lot of negativity in the Pokemon community and in the Nintendo community at large.
Oh yeah,
talking about which I mean, that's welcome to Thursday, right? In the Nintendo community,
but the trees. Look at the trees.
Yeah, the trees, the everything. Everybody was knocking this game. I'm really surprised so far with Scarlet and Violet that the reaction to it seems pretty favorable.
Yes.
And so
the first trailer did have some of the, foregrounds running at 30 frames a second, the backgrounds running at 15 frames a second. A lot of they pulled they did a lot of that in Arceus, and so there was a little grief on that. But yeah, with the second trailer, I don't think I've heard hardly any negativity on it.
The designs for the rival, the professor. I mean, everybody's been talking about how good they look.
Of course, the Turo looks like Kit.
Yeah, I mean, like the he kind of does. Yes, it's uncanny.
That's the first thing Roger said. That's the first thing Kit said.
Yeah, it's like, hey, that's me. I mean, if it's an open world game and it's bringing over some of the stuff from Arceus, here's what I'm curious to see is I'm glad there's kind of been some confirmation about the open world nature of it. Because when I first saw it, I was like, those menus look just like Sword and Shield. Those text boxes look just like Sword and Shield. everything just looks like it's just been like the UI has been just imported over. And there was the moment where you had your character sneaking up on the Smoliv, right? And then it looked like, instead of like, it made it kind of look like she was throwing the Pokeball to catch it. And I was like, okay, did she throw it to catch it, or did she have to battle it and then do it? Because there was also a battle shown during that time too. So is it traditional Pokemon back to the same old, or have we learned from Arceus and used that as a bridge over?
I think that the sample size is incredibly too small to be able to judge that right now. I hope
this
that
game
it's like
has been
Arceus.
well into development before Arceus came out. So I think they probably took things from Arceus that we think this will be good, we'll continue with it. But any other learnings, we're not going to see it until the next game.
I agree with that.
Yeah,
I agree with that
too. It
They're
depends
always
on how hard
kind of
it
a
is to
generation
fix it.
behind, right?
Yeah, that's what happens when you get multiple games in development at once.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's just going to be interesting to see how this turns out. Of course, we also got a release date for this game in this trailer of November 18th. So we know, we're keeping with the November date for Pokemon to prime and ready it for holiday sales, right? So it's going to be there. Over under, guys, on this getting a special edition, either Switch Lite or Switch.
Go get a Switch OLED.
Ooh. Yeah, I hadn't thought about that.
There is no Switch OLED special edition yet, and we know Breath of the Wild 2 is until next year, so why not?
There probably will be a Lite, but it won't include the game. It's kind of, they've done that before.
That's true. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. Absolutely.
Then they're going to have a Switch bundle with Mario Kart 8.
That's what I was going to say. Do they move Mario Kart 8 though to the OLED bundle and let Pokemon be the old one, or is it all going OLED?
Yeah. The OLED bundle will be Mario Kart 8. And the regular bundle will be Switch Sports.
You know, it surprises me with all these Mario Kart 8 bundles. How come they don't just throw in 1-2 Switch at this point? It should have been thrown in from the beginning.
Yeah. I get you there.
It's like, nope, you're still getting the same Mario Kart 8 and you will like it. Well, now we're definitely going to get Mario Kart 8 because it's probably also going to include the booster pass, right? Or it's going to include a month of the NSO or 3 months with the expansion for those 3 months, so you can get access to the booster pass with it.
That is very likely.
Yep. I agree. Well, that's all we have for Pokemon.
You missed a sub bullet.
Oh, I sure did. This is important.
It is.
It was also revealed that Toby Fox composed some music for this game. It's no longer music that's optional. In other words, if you wanted to hear Toby Fox's track for Pokemon Sword and Shield, you needed to have the DLC and do the Panda Tower. That was where that was. But Toby Fox has not worked on a track, but multiple tracks for this brand new Pokemon game, and you'll get to hear them in the game.
I don't know which track it was, but he said one of the tracks played in the trailer was one of his.
Oh,
that's cool.
Be interesting to see. Mecha Dragon in the chat, hanging out in the chat here, says again they may as well recruit the dude. I agree. Hire Toby Fox. Awesome. Help finish Deltarune, and then let him do whatever he wants. If he wants to make music for Mario or Pokemon or whatever, let him do it. Dude's a genius. And I realize that's maybe a very argued opinion. I don't care. He's a genius. Anyway, that's our news for this week, guys. Like we said, a plethora of news. And what we're going to do real quick here is take an ad break and go over and hear about our sponsor, Manscaped.
Hey folks, today's episode is brought to you by Manscaped. Big thanks to their continued support. Ladies and gentlemen, Father's Day is just around the corner, and our friends over at Manscaped are here to ensure that all the father figures in your life, they're going to be looking daddy good this June. You know what I'm saying? Daddy good, all right? Because Manscaped's Performance Package 4.0, which includes Their Lawnmower 4.0 is the perfect bundle to tackle all those weird, like, old man hairs that come out of the nose, that come out of the ears. This right here is no dad joke, no dad joke at all. Treat him, or maybe even yourself, and join in with over the 4 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer. Get 20% off and free shipping when you use the code NINDADS, NINDADS, at manscaped.com. Trust me, this dad bod will thank you. Now let me think about this for you, all right? Maybe you're like, I'll pick this up for my dad, but hey, can I encourage you? Not just maybe your dad, maybe your father-in-law, right? Maybe your friend who just recently became a dad. Congratulations to you. Welcome to the Dad Club. Come on in. It smells like a rich mahogany in here, right? And sometimes doubt and regret. But nonetheless, welcome to the Dad Club. You should treat yourself right. You should use these Manscaped products. So maybe you're getting it for him. Maybe you're getting it for your brother-in-law. Maybe you're getting it for your really good friend who's like, hey, you know what? I respect you. I see you. I think you should treat yourself, right? So don't just treat your dad. Treat your friend. Treat your best friend. Treat your brother-in-law. Treat your brother. Treat just maybe the guy across the street. Hey, here's a package from Manscaped. You look like you need some help, right? Because, hey, as we all get a little bit older, these weird hairs go all over the place, right? And Manscaped has got you covered. I absolutely 110% love the Manscaped products. You know that. All the dads do, right? We're trying to keep dad bod ready for the summer. We know it happens, right? But I got to take care of those hairs. I got to make sure that everything smells nice. I got to make sure that I'm looking the best that I can for everyone, right? So again, head over to manscaped.com, use the code NINDADS, NINDADS, for 20% off and free shipping. Big thanks to Manscaped for their continued support. Hey guys, back to you.
Thank you, Justin, for that information. Be sure to head over to manscaped.com and use the code NINDADS to get 20% off and free shipping, and it works on everything. It doesn't just work on below the belt grooming. It also works on the shampoo, the conditioner, lip balm, all that good stuff that's a little bit more visible as well. And you can go check that out. Jesse, let's listen or let's talk about some rumors, shall we? All right. So PlayStation may have leaked the release date to TMNT Shredder's Revenge. That's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge. An internal database now shows the release date at June 16th. And, that could be a pretty specific placeholder, especially when you think about this being a summer 2022 game. And June 16th isn't exactly summer, but we won't know for sure until this is announced. Barry, I was going to throw it over to you. Are you anticipating the release of this game? Question one. And two, what do you think about June 16th as a release date?
June 16th seems like a fine release date. I mean, it's
like next week.
Yeah,
it's in 2 weeks.
it's just getting it really quickly. But no, I'm super happy for this game. I grew up with the Turtles arcades and TMNT 3 and even 1 and like all those games, Hyperstone Heist, Turtles in Time. I loved them all. And the fact that they got the voice cast from the the 87 cartoon, like this is my childhood in a game. I'm super stoked for this game, and I hope it lives up to the hype because as we saw this when Platinum did their Turtles game, right? In Manhattan. It's like, oh man, Platinum Game's doing a Turtles game. It's gonna be great. And it was like, it's not as good. So I just hope that this game can live up to the hype because I almost feel it's an impossible level of hype at this point to deliver.
Yeah. And I think that's something that's important for us to talk about. Streets of Rage 4 was good. And maybe this is blasphemous. Streets of Rage 4 wasn't great.
I can see that.
WR's Guillaume's here. You say that. He's put over 200 hours over the last 2 years.
Everyone's allowed their opinion, though.
Here's the deal. Like, there's a point that I got to in Streets of Rage 4 where I realized this was absolutely made for co-op couch play only. I cannot do this single player. And I said, I'm done.
Yeah, and Guillaume plays
That's
it with
a problem.
his wife. Or
And
girlfriend.
I am not looking forward to that moment in Streets of Rage 4. Or maybe in Shredder's Revenge.
Now, do you think that will be the case, or do you think maybe they learned from Streets of Rage 4 and maybe the IP holders said, hey, you know what? We don't want that. We want to make sure that anyone can single player beat this game. And
I mean, they could. And here's the thing, like when I say Streets of Rage 4 is good, not great, here's what I want you to understand. I thought it looks amazing, brilliant. But I was expecting a little bit more. I was like what I got felt like a pretty Sega Genesis game, which I think is what people would say that they really want. But I wanted that kind of moderned up a little bit. Like I wanted it to feel a little bit more quick, a little more snappy, and it didn't. Now, Turtles does look like it's a more kind of frenetic pace, but yeah, I like that's going to be, I don't know.
See, I agree with you there. And I think pace is the key word. I think the game has to have a good pace. Growing up with beat 'em ups, Double Dragon, Final Fight, Streets of Rage, Turtles, loved them all. Simpsons Arcade, X-Men, Captain America, all of them, loved them. Going back and playing them now, I have a hard time getting through them. I find myself just getting bored by levels just going on forever, more endless enemies just to constantly fight. It's like repetitive. And I guess as a kid, it was just the excitement of seeing these characters and the graphics and all that stuff. And now it's just, I really needed to hold my attention. Otherwise it's, oh, look, I'm fighting, foot soldier number 575 and there's a mouser there. And I've done this already before. Like I need some excitement to keep me interested.
I literally had that same experience earlier this week. I boot up the Turtles original arcade in my arcade emulator system over in the corner. I played like 2 levels and I'm like, I'm bored.
Yeah.
Those games are more fun when you're playing it with friends.
Yep, absolutely.
Now I agree with that. I'll agree with that. But like I could go back now and play TMNT 4. And it feels faster now than it did than Streets of Rage 4 does. So I'm not saying it's going to be like a complete wash or anything. I just hope that I think the Turtles franchise, like you said, it lends itself more to bounciness, I guess, or, quickness or, a heightened pace. I think I don't know. I'm going to get it. I'm going to buy it no matter what. But I honestly, I'm like you. I love the date of June 16th. I don't know that it's going to happen.
Well, we have known about the game for like 2 years, so
it was playable at PAX.
It was. Do you think that they're saving it for the Nintendo show? If there's
Probably.
A Nintendo show,
yeah,
which there's going to be, right?
Or one of the shows.
Yeah.
They could drop on the Xbox shows, all I know.
It could.
That's true.
It could. And
that's June 12th.
Whoever decides to pay them the most money, I guess.
Yeah, and I mean, there's always the Cowabunga collection, right?
Absolutely.
Well, there's always that.
I guess it hasn't been 2 years. We first found out about it in April of last year. It seems like 2 years, but it only has been 1.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's been in development for longer than that, though.
Oh, yeah.
But here's the thing. The world we live in now, does every year not feel like 2
years? Yes. Very, very true.
It's like
it feels like 2 months and 2 years at the same time.
I've lived 720 days. Yeah. So let's talk PlayStation for a minute. I know this is not really rumors, but State of Play was today. And all of us, Barry, do you have a PS4 or PS5?
I have both.
Okay, you have both. I know Jesse's got a PS5. I've got a PS5. I saw in the chat earlier, Mecha Dragons now got a PS5. They're starting to get more available out there. They're starting to, about time, right? A year and a half past post launch, you got to start. But here's the deal. PlayStation announced today, Tunic is coming to PS4 and PS5 on September 27th, among a bevy of other games. And I have to say, like our PlayStation friends, like Megadads and Mr. Bad Bit over at the PlayStation Trophy Room, and all those guys they were crowing about the show today. So it was so good and how it hit it out of the park. What do you think? Did you like what you saw? I have thoughts. I have opinions, and I'm gonna let you maybe you just go first.
Set me up, huh? I thought the show was good. Did I think it hit it out of the park? For me personally, no. But for other people, absolutely. I'm not a big Resident Evil fan. I haven't played Resident Evil in a while. But if you are and you're excited about remakes and VR versions of games that are already out, then great. It's something for you.
What's worse than playing a spooky game is than playing a spooky game in VR.
Playing a spooky game with an expensive headset on your head.
Yeah, I'm not exactly looking forward to even trying that. I'm not a big horror guy, but I am looking forward to like Horizon VR. I think that looks really cool. There was Final Fantasy 16, of course, which ended the game, which ended the show, I should say. I'm really excited for. I have full faith in Yoshida. He's done wonders for Final Fantasy 14, so I am really excited to see what they do with 16. I like the whole summons, and looks like you can transform into them. Really interested to see where they go with the story on that. I'm not the biggest fan of the real-time action. I do prefer the turn-based, but I will absolutely give it a chance. I like Strangers of Paradise. Yeah, I like Strangers of Paradise. I didn't like 15, so we'll see how 16 goes. Again, I love 14, so that we've been waiting for 16 forever. That wasn't a surprise. We knew 16 was coming. It was just great to see it. Tunic, now that it's going to PlayStation, it wouldn't surprise me to see Tunic appear at the Nintendo Direct, showing that it's on the Switch as well. I don't see why we wouldn't bring it to the Switch.
Why I put it on the notes, because will the Switch get it the same day or not?
Yeah,
we don't.
I'm sure it will. Or at least close to. And then, there were a couple other games, but one game that the only other game that really stood out to me that not a lot of people are talking about is that Eternights game. And that game just looked so unique.
Yeah.
Like you losing your hand and then it becomes like a sword and you have all these different characters and it looked like an action JRPG with some persona. Like, yeah, sign me up. That actually has me excited. I'm really interested to see more from that. And I don't see a lot of people talking about that.
I just looked at the Tunic website. They haven't added the PS4 and PS5 icons on the bottom, but they do have a banner in the middle saying that it's coming on September 27th. So I'd say
maybe they're just waiting.
Yeah, if either it's not coming to Switch or they'll add it to the website once it's officially announced somewhere.
Makes sense. No, but overall, I thought it was a good show. It was short. When it ended, I was like, "Wait, that's it?" Like,
I think we knew it was only going to be a half an hour.
It was. I don't even think it was half an hour. It was like 28 minutes or 27 minutes. I don't know. It seems like Sony still hasn't figured out a way to pace their shows, and I think it was a pacing issue. Like I said, overall, it's still a good show. There's some exciting stuff coming. I'm really looking forward to seeing more PSVR 2 and seeing how that works and all that. But
I know the whole Final Fantasy 16 thing is in our fantasy critic game. Someone picked it and I countered it, so they can't remove it. And since it's not coming out this year, they'll get negative points and I'll get positive points for that action.
Nice.
So here's my thoughts. I think there was a phrase that you used. If that's your jam or whatever, then I'm happy for you. But I tweeted this, and surprisingly, nobody bit when I said this. But when I saw just the stills from it, the initial gut reaction I had was, why does everything look like the real world? And I know, like, we have these super powerful systems and consoles now that can do all this. But my thing is this: I play games to escape the world. And like, I am just so
That's why Sora looks the way he does.
Yes.
Yeah, like I'm kind of over everything being dark and like Final Fantasy 16 looked so samey.
It did.
To
it was hard to tell
everything
who was
else. And like if you didn't name those games and you put that and Elden Ring screens together, it would be hard to
even putting a
some
screen of
cases
15 versus 16 together and show it to someone who doesn't know.
Yeah, it's very samey. I still can't get over I'm like you, like, and call me an old man, I don't care. Like the turn-based gameplay of Final Fantasy dying has been one of the worst things that has happened. And everybody's always like, yeah, well, you've got this or you've got that. Well, maybe that's not what I'm looking for, because guess what? In the turn-based,
and we're still
the turn-based
about
combat,
Dragon Quest 12. Don't break Dragon Quest 12. The
same like the offerings that have come out that are turn-based, they've all got like extra stuff added to it. Like you've got a Bravely, or you've got a default, or you've got to hit them so many times to break their barrier, blah, blah. Can we not just get like...
Don't knock Bravely Default. That is a fantastic series. I
just can't do it, man.
Fantastic
series. The closest thing I've found to like scratching that itch is Dragon Quest.
Dragon Quest
11. I mean, and I'm not played it. I really have the time to devote to that. I mean, Persona 5, I devoted some time to, because it was turn-based, but
yeah, they're both 100-hour
everything doesn't have to be a button mashy, angsty, dark hellscape of a game. Like
I think it's all 15. I understood why it was, because it was supposed to be versus 13. It was supposed to be a spinoff, and spinoffs are just that. Like Strangers of Paradise. Like I don't mind that it was an action RPG style, because again it was a spinoff of Final Fantasy. I do wish 16 was at the very least used the Gambit system from 12. Like I didn't mind 12's system either, because I played a lot of 11, and that was fine. That was almost turn-based action. It wasn't spamming buttons like crazy. But I do want to know, in the trailer or in the state of play, they did show off another game which was already previously announced, but they showed off the first gameplay of it, which was Street Fighter 6, which thank God they didn't change the logo. Like the logo was really bad at the beginning. But did anyone else feel like it was a new Final Fight game at the beginning of that, before they revealed it was Street Fighter 6? Because they had Metro City,
of like the adventure mode.
Yeah, like I was like, oh my God, they're in Metro City. This is a new Final Fight. This is gonna be like they're trying Streetwise again. Did they not learn? Also, I see
one of my Twitter friends from back in VG Tribune days said, "Am I looking at an open world Street Fighter game? What is this?"
Yeah, and I think that could be cool. I really do. I think that could be an interesting twist on,
I see
the same old formula.
Who is it? Mecha Dragon asked, didn't Stranger of Paradise take place in FF1? It's an alternate. I can't say much without spoiling it, but it is an alternate version in a way of FF1. So it's not like part of the mainline canon. It's almost like
you've got four guys attacking Garland, just they're doing it in a different way, right?
No, it's much more than that.
Okay.
It's much more. Garland is the first boss, I think.
Oh, it's the first. Spoiler for a Final Fantasy 1 game.
First, yes.
Garland is the first and the last boss.
Yes, but it's not that way here.
Okay.
There's something else. There's something more to it. If you play it, and again, I don't want to spoil it. It's more akin to maybe Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, where it's not like really a fully prequel. It's a kind of a what if. It's an alternate version of. That's what Stranger of Paradise is. Yeah, there's iPhones and earbuds and stuff like that, and it's very weird.
Yeah. Well,
there's other stuff too. I can't say.
The game I'm most excited about that came out of that is the one you mentioned earlier. What was the name of that game again?
Which
Etherlight or Everlight?
It's Eternights.
Eternights. Okay. The other one is Stray.
It looks great.
I'm really looking forward to that one.
My daughter wants to play that one.
Like
the youngest one.
Final Fantasy 16 for me is probably a skip. Resident Evil 4 remake is definitely a skip. The Castillo effect or Callisto effect, skip. There's gonna, like, if you look at 2003 or 2023, Dead Space, Callisto effect, and Resident Evil are all coming out with like in a 3 to 4 month time. So horror fans, y'all eating good. But not me.
Don't forget Resident Evil 8 in VR, and The Walking Dead is doing in VR.
Yeah,
so, they got a lot.
So I mean, I think it'd be good. I would just like, again, I get it. I'm probably an outlier when it comes to my opinion on this. Like, and apparently I am, because AAA does crazy money. So apparently I'm the one that's not right. But I don't know. I would rather see more games like Internight and Stray and
there was
Tunic
another one
and
with
stuff
the
like
bike
that.
where the girl had like the bike and was rolling around and taking pictures. Like, my wife was like, "Oh, this game looks really great." I forget the name of it now.
That's called Akira Simulator.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's called.
I forget the name of it. It was shown in the indie thing. I think it was right after Tunic.
Yeah. That's one thing. I think PlayStation bobbles really badly is the way they handle indies is just not good. Like, it's not the platform for indies, and it's very obvious if you go look at most of them release on PlayStation Store with very little fanfare at all. But then they've got, Final Fantasy 16. You could turn into a vomit. I mean, why play indies, right?
I'm sure 16 will be on Xbox as well. I don't think it's.
I'm sure. Exclusive. I'm sure it will. So yeah.
16 I think I want to try, but if it plays like 15, then I'm not gonna.
Yeah,
exactly. Depends how it plays.
15 did not capture me at all, and I tried it. I tried it twice.
Yeah, I tried 15. Back when you could rent games out of a Redbox, and the tutorial pissed me off, and put it back in the envelope and returned it to the box.
I had to suffer through the demos. Like, they had the special demos you could download, and those were like, oh, maybe the real game is going to be better. No, it was not.
No, not even the pocket version.
Didn't play that version.
So
let's. I bought that, but never played it.
Let's put a pin in these rumors. We'll come back and see see how all this does, of course, later. There's a couple of things we want to focus on in our Let's Discuss segment this week. So let's head over there. So I wanted to talk about this one, which is probably not normal. But then Barry said, yeah, I want to talk about that too. So let's talk Sonic Frontiers. This game was shown off this week with a brand new teaser trailer and 7 minutes of gameplay on IGN. And IGN will also be featuring combat abilities video. If you're listening to the audio version of this, it's supposed to come out today. If you're watching us live, it's Friday everywhere. But guys, let's talk about Sonic meets Breath of the Wild, right? That's really what this is, pretty much, right, Barry? You saw the trailer. You saw
I did, and I watched about 3.5 minutes of the gameplay.
Okay, so what do you think?
I am cautiously optimistic.
Sure.
As a Sonic fan, as somebody who is well known, like, knows how the series goes, and the fact that Sega is like, oh, we're aiming to make a good game this time. It's like, really, what were you doing all those other times?
Not aiming it last time.
For me, I love open world games. Breath of the Wild, prime example. One of the things I love about open world games is exploring, looking what's here, what's there, finding hidden secrets. And Sonic is all about going quickly. So those two things really do not compute. And when Sonic Lost World came out, it was like, oh, this looks like Mario Galaxy, right? And Sonic. And it just didn't really work for me because I wanted that slow melodic platforming, and instead I was going too quickly. It just didn't feel right. So I'm really worried if I'm gonna wind up being like, oh, I want to go over there, but I can't get myself there because I'm going too quickly, or it just doesn't control well, or I was about to land there and I landed on a grind rail and now I'm grinding in the wrong direction and it's on autopilot for the next 30 seconds. And I don't know. I really need to see more. The gameplay looked interesting. They showed like climbing a tower where there was a bunch of the hidden things. But again, there was no context to it, and it was just someone playing it, and their skill was hit or miss depending on how you want to put it, because there were things like, oh no, go see what's over there. No, okay. Don't see what's over there. Who cares? Again, cautiously optimistic. Do I plan to get it at launch? Yes. Do I plan to try it at launch? Yes. Unless the reviews are just coming out and they're just like 2.0 out of 10, do not buy this game. Then I'll wait till it's on sale. But if I have time to play it and it continues to look good, I will give it a fair shot.
Okay, yeah. Like I'm like you. Like I'm cautiously optimistic because as a kid who had both the Super Nintendo and a Sega Genesis, I loved Sonic when I was a teenager. Played Sonic 1, 2, 3, and Sonic and Knuckles, Sonic CD. Loved Sonic Adventure, Sonic Adventure 2, and since then, not so much. I mean, there's been some that have popped back in that I like Sonic Colors, Sonic Generations, the Sonic Rush on the Game Boy Advance or Sonic Advance, whatever that was. Sonic Mania was great. Of course, that's because fans made it. But I remember seeing the very first like reveal of this and then like going, okay, this could be good, right? What I'm worried about is that every game now seems to be taking this cue from this like open world, sparse piano music, real world, let's make it look realistic setting like mountains and all kinds of other stuff. And y'all, it kind of looked like Sonic got mashed up like in a PB&J sandwich with Breath of the Wild and Xenoblade Chronicles.
Which I'm okay with if done properly. I mean, it's all about the execution.
Yeah.
Like, come on, when we first found out that Mario was going to be in a role-playing game, Mario in a role-playing game, and then it turned out to be fantastic. And then when we all saw
it was more Mario with a gun.
Mario with a gun. With rabbits, exactly. When Super Paper or Mario RPG 2 was first shown off, and everyone's like, this art style looks terrible. They ripped on Paper Mario, and then it became Paper Mario, and people were like, wow, this is a really good game. I think everything's worth a shot. It's absolutely worth a shot. I'm also really excited to hear the music, because you talked about music. I think Sonic has some of the best themes in gaming, and not in terms of a setting, but in terms of like something I would listen to standard, like put on my track to when I want to listen to music with vocals. And I'm really interested to see what they do if they bring Crush 40 back, if they wind up, doing new artists or whatever they go with. I just hope it's really good because I like Sonic music.
Yeah, I mean, I think that music-wise, you're right. Sonic has always been good, but
the execution, it's all execution. Sonic 06 could have been a good game, but it was terrible.
When I look at that map, and I see lots of mountains, and I don't see lots of flat spaces and lots of like loops and things like that, I keep wondering, why can they not get it that what we really want out of this game is not some huge world to explore or some crazy like Robo creatures to defeat and grind rails and all that stuff. We want the speed.
Well, maybe we're only seeing a very small part. Remember when Breath of the Wild was shown off and they showed off all this crazy stuff, and then they're like, oh yeah, all this stuff is only in the starter area. They just showed off stuff on the plateau. The rest of the game, they didn't show off. They let us explore. So for all we know, this is the starting area. This is just to get our feet wet, to learn the mechanics. And then there's then like you leave this area and there's sprawling hills and you see loop-the-loops and the checkerboards and all that stuff. You're like, oh, you got me. Or, or that could just be one section. There's still way too much that we're missing that they haven't revealed yet. And that's why I'm cautiously optimistic, because on one part of me is exactly like you, like, oh, this doesn't feel like Sonic. I don't know. But on the other hand, I know they haven't shown me everything. I know there's more to it, and I'm hoping to not be disappointed by what is they haven't shown yet. Because they could show, oh, here's the rest of it and it's hot garbage, and they could show the rest of it and it's everything we want. So there's still I don't know when it's coming out. Is it 2023 or is it this year?
They said
It's
this
supposed to be
year.
this holiday.
This year. This holiday. Okay, well, I guess we'll find out.
Looking at my notes, yeah, holiday 22.
Yeah.
And
So I guess we'll find out.
We've had that date since December of last year.
Well, it could be a delay too. It'd be like, you know,
still could be delayed, but so the information I have is 6 months old.
You know what? I guess we could revisit this in 6 months and say, what did you think of Sonic Frontiers? And be like, oh, that game was Sonic 06 levels bad, or hey, that was Sonic Generations level or Sonic Mania level.
Or you mean the game that comes out in 3 months?
Yeah, I kind of feel like with the Sonic movie and with Frontiers coming out and Origins coming out this year, this is kind of like the push to make Sonic like a star again and the spotlight. I just hope this game doesn't mess that up.
Well, they've already messed up a little bit with Origins, right? With the whole that chart, which was hilariously bad, where they make bullet points for stupid stuff like animations on menus that you have to pay for. The fact that there's no physical is another strike. Sonic 2, the movie, was, in my opinion, fantastic, except for one part. One part at the very end, when the climax happened. Tell me that scene, and I don't want to spoil it, but you'll know the scene if you've seen the movie, wouldn't have been 100 times better if Live and Learn didn't start playing. Tell me it wouldn't have been better. And if you haven't seen the movie, then I won't say anything else. But if you've seen the movie, you probably know exactly what I'm talking about.
Well, I am notoriously known as not a Sonic fan, but I did like the movies, and I don't know much about music, or so I probably didn't even notice what track you're talking about.
Oh, they didn't use real Sonic music. They did like a real world music and original music.
Oh, right. Yeah, I get that.
But they didn't use actual Sonic music. Except for the ringtone.
I kind of wouldn't have expected them to use Sonic music. I think that would have been weird. But again, if I was a Sonic fan, then I probably would have wanted that.
But here's the kicker about Sonic music. If I played you Sonic music and you didn't know it was Sonic music, you wouldn't have had no idea, because it's just
right.
It's like
I know Green Hill Zone, because who doesn't?
Yeah, but I'm talking the actual lyrical themes. It's just rock and roll. If you listened to a rock song on the radio and said that sounded good, and I told you, oh, that's from Sonic the Hedgehog, you would have been like, what? And that's how Sonic music is. Like modern Sonic music, like the themes don't sound like Sonic music. They could put to anything. They're just really good. And like after this, like Google, like Live and Learn Sonic Adventure 2, and like listen, you'll be like, okay, I get what you mean there. I mean, it's the climax music. It's so good.
Yeah. And just, I want to say here, I thought Sonic the Hedgehog 2, the movie, was great. I thought it was brilliant.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, source material, all things considered, it's okay. But they pulled it off. They made a great movie. Made a fun movie. I'll say great. I'll say good. Like we went and saw it. Like we watched the original Sonic in the theaters. It was our last movie pre-pandemic.
Yep.
And then we went and saw this one in the theaters too. And nobody fell asleep.
That's great.
So my wife didn't fall asleep. And I mean, she was like,
I fell asleep during Morbius. So, okay, there we go.
There you go.
It's Morbin time.
Mecha Dragon said Sonic Heroes music would have been good. I think that would have been great while the three of them were attacking together, and that should have been there. But then the climax part, when hand comes down and raises back up, is what I'm referring to. And he also says everyone knows Live and Learn is a Sonic song. So Jesse, I don't know, you might have to take it up to him.
I mean, I don't know if I knew that, but sure.
If you
Live
play
and
Sonic
Learn,
Adventure
I guess,
2,
right?
you would know. Sonic Adventure 2.
Then Gaming Dad in the chat says, please, Nintendo, take your time and give us a great movie.
Totally agree.
Referring to Chris Prattio.
Hey, I'm a Chris Prattio. I'm here to catch all of the dinosaurs and Beta the Koopas.
Yes, Mecha Dragon. That part is what I'm referring to. I'm trying not to spoil it for the audio.
Yeah, well, I mean, if they haven't seen it by now.
I still respect. I don't like to be spoiled. So
like if you're like at this point, if you haven't seen episode 3 of Kenobi, what are you doing with your life? Right? I mean,
that only came out yesterday.
It's been out for a day.
Yeah, you've had 36 hours. What's wrong with you?
That's right. That's right. Some people, get up and watch it at 2 a.m. just so they don't get spoiled. I don't do that.
No, they watch it at 2 a.m. so they can put out a video at 6 a.m. saying spoilers ahead. Well, don't do it at 6 a.m.
To be first. It's all internet culture is all about first. How many YouTube videos where the first comment is just first?
Right. Yeah, I got you. I wanted to talk about this other thing too here that Barry brought up in the pre-show, and that is Evercade announcing a brand new console and 2 new collections this week. Barry, can you kind of give us some info on that?
Yeah. So if you don't know what the Evercade is, it's a handheld console that plays physical cartridges. They're all about physical media, and all the cartridges are compilations from different companies. You got Namco, you've got Atari, you got Intellivision, Interplay, and a bunch of others, including not only classic stuff, but even like indie games, like modern indie games.
But is there a Jalico one?
Yes, there is.
Oh no.
Yes, there is. So they just announced that the handheld is actually going to be discontinued, and a brand new handheld is coming out this September, which is going to be called the Evercade EXP, which looks remarkably like a Nintendo Switch Lite. This thing has some interesting features, better screen, built-in Wi-Fi, better viewing angles. And one really cool thing is it does tape mode, where you could actually turn the handheld on its side and play in tape mode.
Tate mode.
Or tate mode, whatever you want to say. I call it tape mode, but some people say tate. Where you can play vertical shooters, the proper way. And to capitalize on this, they announced 2 brand new arcade carts, because they have the standard carts, which are like NES versions or console versions, and then the arcade versions. The Toplan, which is going to have Tiger Healy, it's going to have Zero Wing, Flying Shark, Truxian, Guardian, and Snow Brothers, and Techie Packy. They're all going to be part of this, which is really cool. And then they're going to do the IRAM is getting a collection, which includes 10-Yard Fight, Moon Patrol, R-Type, Battle Chopper, In the Hunt, and the first ever home official release of Lightning Swords. These are all going to be on the individual cartridges, and they're cheap. Like they're like 20 pounds a cartridge. So like really affordable cartridges. And it's just an interesting to see an independent company come into this very crowded field with the juggernauts and survive. They're 2 years old at this point, and they're getting
Amico.
Not like Amico. These things, and every game comes in like a clamshell, a plastic clamshell with a full color manual, and it's great to see. And they've just been striving, and they found their niche, and they're non-expensive, they're fun to collect for, and they're getting exclusive titles, which is really cool.
I may have to buy one of these.
Yeah,
this is bad.
It's really an interesting system.
Mainly just for the. And I'm maybe this is just me. I don't know, like the Interplay collections. I mean, they got Earthworm Jim, they got Clay Fighter, they got, and the second one's got Clay Fighter 2 and Claymates and Earthworm Jim 2.
Yeah, and these are all licensed.
Interplay, those old Interplay games, man.
Now there's also the home console, which is out now, which is the Evercade Versus, where you can put 2 cartridges in the slots. And there's actually like 11 hidden games, depending on if you put button pushes or you put like this cart and this card in, you get a hidden game added to the menu, because the menus will actually combine the carts. It's not which one do you want to load. So you could put Interplay 1 and 2 and have all your Interplay games right there ready to go.
That's cool.
In alphabetical order. It's a really interesting.
What I think is really neat about this too is that a lot of these games or carts are not just collections. They're actually the original arcade versions, which for me, like growing up, if I played a game, I was like, oh, I played that in arcade, but this is the Nintendo home console version, right? So there's some really cool things here. The only thing that I feel like is missing, and I would love to see them find a way to do this or reach out to it, is this would be a great system to have Neo Geo games on.
They're probably in talks with SNK. It's all about licensing, but it's really cool because there's like the Indie Heroes cartridge, which has a bunch of those indie titles that you talk about, like not doing well on PlayStation. And like there's exclusive versions of some of these games that or a homebrew kind of deal where they're aftermarket games. And now they're officially released on the Evercade with exclusive features. And they're reaching out to everybody, and I think they're doing a good
I'm
job.
gonna tell you what, if they put a cartridge out with Number Muncher on it,
Oh,
and Word Muncher from an Oregon Trail, I'm in. Like shut up and take my money.
There's still 2 carts to announce this year, so who knows?
The Apple IIe collection. I would take it. And look, for you young whippersnappers out there that don't know what Number Muncher and Word Muncher are, Barry, you know what I'm talking about, right?
I play Number Muncher.
All right. You play the old. Now, here's the thing. The question is this: which version of Oregon Trail did your school have? Did you have the version where it was like when you went to hunt, you could see the rifle and the animals trailed across the screen and you had to time it right? Or was a crosshair? That's right. Yeah. Or did you have the version where you had your little settler walking around and he could do like
I didn't see the settler
spin and you had to shoot the animals there and then go pick up the meat?
No settler for me.
Oh, you got to have the settler version, right? Now, you go to elementary school and it's like, what are you doing? I play Minecraft.
Yeah.
You guys will never know about the days of Oregon Trail and Number Muncher.
Don't forget where in the world is Carmen Sandiego. That was another one too.
Yeah. It was a bad day when somebody got to the 4th grade classroom before me and got to Oregon Trail. It was heartbreaking. Well, along with this, I think it's interesting that Evercade is brought up and they're forging ahead. And we talked about the Embracer Group not long ago here on the show, and about their acquisition of a lot of Square Enix's Western properties. And we kind of also talked about the fact that Embracer Group kind of sounds like a religious cult that's trying to summon a demon that ends the world. Well, I mean, let's be honest. I mean, who are they? The Embracer Group. What kind of name is that? But anyway, I got to give them kudos for this. Embracer Group this week announced their game archive efforts, and which they claim to have acquired a large collection of retro gaming consoles and games and peripherals, all kinds of stuff that's out there, and are building kind of, I guess, like a library of some sorts. And they mentioned that this is not going to be something that's just like available to the public or anything like that, but it's going to be, or even journalists, that it's going to be available for researchers and academics and people to come and study. They do say that it will be to some degree available to the general public eventually. But in a time where we're seeing more, like, I want to say this the right way. I think gaming companies see the desire for retro preservation, but the way that they're doing it is, oh yeah, we'll do that. We'll put it behind a paywall. You pay for our online service, right? And it's becoming so segmented. It's interesting to me that these guys seem like they're actually doing the work of building some form of video game library or some form of video game preservation society. I know there's stuff like that out there. We've actually donated to that in the past, but they've hired a CEO, an archivist, an assistant, a technical engineer, and a supply manager for this. So they're actually people that they are paying to work on this archive, which I think is kind of important. What do you guys think when you hear this? Like,
are they going to have stadium events available to research?
I'm sure
only
it's digital
you
versions.
with the Pokemon stuff, right?
No, not Pokemon.
He said stadium events.
This is like the $13,000 NES game because it's so damn rare.
Oh yeah.
You play world class track meet and be happy.
Exactly.
It's going to be interesting to see how much of it is available to the public, right?
Yeah.
I think what they're doing is very important. I think before this buyout of Square Enix's Crystal Dynamics and all that, I think most people, myself included, hadn't even heard of Embracer Group. Like, where they come from? And if you look at the amount of IPs they have, it's ridiculous. The amount of studios they have, like they are huge. They are a giant, and they have enough under their umbrella that they can do something substantial. And I'm really happy they're doing this because video game preservation is important. And we're seeing games delisted all the time. We're seeing games gone, and if there's no physical, they're really gone. So I think making it available for research first kind of makes sense, because think about the servers we already have. Now picture a library of all those games readily available to the public. How fast is that server going to crash, right?
Pocket Card Jockey needs to be preserved.
Yes, I agree. It does. They all do. But Pocket Card Jockey is a fun game. They probably are doing this as a test. Let's do it for researchers. Let's see how the bandwidth happens. Let's see how it's like. Let's get things set up and see how the researchers work. And then they open it to journalists, and they open it to the public in different, subscription services or however they do it. But as long as there's backups to the backups and these games are not lost, because we've seen so many games completely lost where there's either A, no way to play them, or B, even if physical copies do exist, the source code is lost. Like the original Okami, the source code is lost. They had to rebuild it for the Wii, and the HD version is built off the Wii version. Panzer Dragoon Saga, the source code is lost. That's why they're not putting that on any digital front. If you want to play Panzer Dragoon Saga, you're shelling out over $1,000 because they can't reproduce it. So it's important that this happens, even more so now in this semi-digital age. So I applaud them. I'm interested to see what they do. I hope they don't screw it up. I hope they don't say, we'll let the public have it for $500 a month or $1,000 a month or something stupid. Like, I really hope they're smart about it and they give these games the attention they deserve.
Yeah. The phrase that keeps coming to my mind as I think about this is slippery slope, right? Because what do you preserve, and what do you choose to preserve, and okay, that's fine, but how much is it going to cost, and how much room is it going to take to preserve everything?
Well, if Embracer Group has enough money to do it, and maybe that's why they're going slow with the journalists. They want to see how much space it takes and how much money it's going to cost them. Because if it's costing them money to hold on to them and to store all this and have the servers, they're going to have to recoup, and they're paying people to do it. So no business is going to drop money into something without being able to get a return on investment. They're just not going to do it. So there's going to be a return on investment. We just don't know what it is or how it's going to happen.
There's got to be a revenue stream of some point, right? I mean, at some point it's going to be monetized.
Exactly.
And what's the level of interaction going to be? What's the monetization going to be?
That's what I'm saying. It could be totally stupid or it could be affordable, and we just have to wait and see whenever there's.
Is it bad that my mind goes toward totally stupid? I mean, like that's the default setting.
That is the default setting when it comes to businesses most of the time.
Yes,
most of the time.
But here's a fun fact. Regardless of what it costs, if they never open this to the public, you probably have more games now that you can ever play in the rest of your life at this very point in time.
Sure.
And that's not even counting any game that comes out starting tomorrow. So, and these are all going to be older games. So all these games already exist in some way, shape, or form or fashion. So I think it's going to be moved.
Just because they're not available to you doesn't mean they're not preserved. They're, we've seen what happened with Nintendo GigaLeak. They preserved a lot of data. Otherwise, the GigaLeak wouldn't have happened.
I think that it would make me feel better if I felt like the big three cared more about game preservation than they do. Like, it's one thing to say it.
Yep.
Oh yeah, we care about our past, our IP, whatever. Do they? I mean, do they really, or is it we're going to cash in? Because yes, they are a business. They've got to do it. There's money that has to be made at some point. But and hear me when I say this. Like, I'm not asking Nintendo to make their entire NES and SNES back catalog available for free. That's not what I'm saying. Like, just come get it. Whatever you want, play it wherever you want. That's not what I'm saying. But like, yes, they're archived. But what about the games that they like? What that does is it puts us at the mercy of, well, we get what they choose to release, not what we might want them to release.
I'm not saying what I said was a good thing.
Well, I understand. But I mean,
It's
there's old games that are based off of a license that maybe you don't like or I don't like, but somebody likes and they would like to play those again, at some point.
That's a tricky situation too, because then you're dealing with licenses. Like
Right.
even now, a more modern example is Stranger Things 3. That game is delisted. Even though Stranger Things 4 just came out, Stranger Things 3 game is delisted. There is a physical of it, and without that physical, we would not be able to play that game currently. And that's a recent thing. You look at games that were promotional games, like Doritos made promotional Xbox Live Arcade games. Toyota Yaris made a promotional Yaris game.
And who can forget Sneak King?
All the Burger King
on
ones.
the Xbox 360.
That's preserved. There's billions of those discs everywhere.
Oh yeah,
They're everywhere.
You could probably Jesse, you could probably melt that plastic down and use it to remodel your kitchen.
That would be more valuable,
and there would be way more left than
I'll make my kitchen sink out of recycled discs.
Just think about it. And every time you wash your hands there or wash a dish, it'll be sneaking.
Yeah, or big bumping.
Better than what it was used for, right? Well, we will keep an eye on this and try to keep you updated in the days ahead. Maybe there'll be a place you can go and view this or see it. I can't imagine it being like they're in Sweden, so like it's going to be hard for people to it's going to cost a lot if you travel to, like, if that's where it is, or where would it be? I mean, do they put one in every? I don't know. Anyway, it's a whole big mess.
They have to put it in multiple places. Like, look at there was a museum in Ukraine, like a computer museum, and with this whole war that happened, the museum was destroyed. Like priceless artifacts, priceless gaming history stuff was gone. Documents were gone. So we absolutely need it in more than one place. You don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of that, let's talk about a couple of events, shall we? So for our patrons, we want to remind you that it's almost time for the dinner table for June. This will be June 17th at 10 p.m. Eastern time. You can tune in if you're a patron of the show, either via patreon.com/NintendoDads or over at Twitch by being a Twitch Prime subscriber. You can join the Discord call and hang out. We don't record this show because it's been known for topics and things to get brought up that are personal. But it's really just about us being and hanging out with our community. And so you can join Tim there every third Friday of the month, which just happens to be June 17th this month as well. We also want to remind you, if you're a player of Fortnite, the big collision event is tomorrow. If you're listening to this audio version, it's Saturday, beginning at 3 p.m. Eastern. You can see the end of this season, and they have claimed that it is a one-time event. They're really stressing that with this event, that it's only going to be seen one time. So I would think that there's probably going to be something pretty big coming along with that. There's kind of a space thing looking for the next season. And Darth Vader has been teased as being in the battle pass. And yeah, I think it's going to be pretty epic if you're a Fortnite fan. So be sure to check that out. 3 p.m. I believe that's 3 p.m. Eastern on Saturday. You can check that out. Make sure I'm right on that, but we just wanted to remind you and alert you of that. Jesse, it doesn't look like we have a Poke Minute.
No, but I do want to add, as part of events, that Pokemon Go Fest 2022 is this weekend, Saturday and Sunday from 10 to 6 each day. I plan on doing a live stream as much as I can. I've already got my thumbnails created, and so I plan on going live early Saturday morning, and we'll see how long I'm online for.
Okay, so go check that out Saturday as Pokemon Go Fest happens, and Jesse will be live. Speaking of games, let's talk about what we've been playing, shall we? Barry, it is a longstanding Nintendo Dads tradition that guests go first. And so we would love for you to give us a talk about what you've been playing.
Sure. So as I mentioned earlier, I just did Kirby 64. Finally finished that for the first time, and I am working slowly through Kirby's Dreamland 3. I have also another game that you actually mentioned earlier that it was one of those that I never thought I would go play, and I'm like, you know what? Nothing big is right now. Let me try it. Elden Ring, a game I did not think I was going to enjoy, and I wound up falling in love with it and beating it. And I never thought I would ever do that, but it was a great game. Just truly.
How long did it take you to get through Elden Ring?
I spent over 100 hours just having fun, just exploring. And you know what? There's stuff I missed. There's stuff that, like, now the disc's out. I put the disc away, and I'm thinking to myself, oh, I never did go back to that section. Like, I was finding things like right before I beat the final boss, like that I missed right in the starting area of the game. Like, there's just a lot to it, and it's way better than I ever anticipated. And I'm not a Souls fan. I'm not a Bloodborne fan. I'm not any of that Sekiro, but I did really enjoy Elden Ring. So that was my big game. Also Final Fantasy 14, 6.15 comes out next Tuesday. So looking forward to that. Looking forward to new Beast Trap quests, and I'm a big 14 player, and it's just one of those things that I love Final Fantasy, so I just love keeping up with the story, and you have a great group of friends over there that I get to hang out with.
Cool. Jesse, what about you? What have you been playing?
I've been continuing my Final Fantasy Pixel Remaster playthrough. I think I'm almost done with 3. I got the secondary ship, but that thing's a beast. So I think I have a few side quests to do. Like, I just got Eiyuden as a summon, but I don't have any. I haven't powered up any summoners yet. I don't even know if I have access to the job. I might, but I just haven't used it. So that's, again, I've never liked job systems, except for Dragon Quest 9. For some reason, I liked that. But so I was worried about this one, but I'm like, okay, it's okay. The jobs, when you switch to a job, you normally don't have to grind in that job to be able to do anything. You may not hit as hard, but it's not the damage you do, but the abilities that matter. Like, this person attacks everybody every turn, so you need dragoons to jump, so every other turn they miss. Things like that. Or this boss changes its weakness every other turn, so you need a scholar or whatever class it is that's able to detect what the weaknesses are. But this is before you learn Libra, when you can do it as a white mage. So, you can do that later on. But so that's how they use the job systems for. So it isn't as bad as I originally thought. So I should be. I think I should be able to finish that game up this weekend. Well, maybe not.
I mean, really, this is just pushing through it to get to 4, right?
Yeah, 4. I'm gonna. I've played through 4 like 3 or 4 times already in my life. So 4 is one of my favorite games. So that, again, I haven't played anything Nintendo this week, so everything else of it here is Xbox. The Eiyuden Chronicle Rising. One of our previous guests mentioned it, and I'm like, that sounds interesting. Let me give it a try. It's on the Game Pass, so why not? It's free. It's free with my subscription. So I won't talk a lot about it, but it's, you're basically an explorer who goes to the city, this small town, who has a new cavern mine opened up trying to get artifacts. But just the life of the city always gets in your way, and you're always doing these side quests. And I don't even remember why, but I have the stamp card. Every time I do a side quest for someone, they give me a stamp. More stamps unlocks more things and improves the city. I think I'm like halfway through my gold card, which is the second card. Maybe not halfway quite yet, but I have over 50 stamps. Just shy of 10 hours in. I just one of your first companions that you play with in your party is this kangaroo that always has one eye covered, and he's really upset every time that you do something that's sidetracking what he wants to do, but you're the one in charge, so he can't stop you. That's kind of funny banter there. One thing I am impressed with, the graphics are all pixel art, but they're really high quality pixel art. And normally, if you have a character looking left and then you flip them around to look right, they normally just flip the image. So yeah, the kangaroo has one eye covered, but flip it around and you think the other eye is going to be magically covered instead. No, they actually drew two separate heads. So the correct eye is always covered no matter which way he looks. So small thing, but I was impressed by that. So based on the number of stamps I collected, I think one of the rewards happens when I reach over 200. So I'm probably only a quarter of the way into the game. So, and I just recently got my third party member or second companion to join my party. So that's a game I'll probably come back to from time to time and keep playing with it. I'm having fun with that. Floppy Nights is a game that kind of has a similar art style to Dicey Dungeons. Doesn't play like Dicey Dungeons. It plays like a Fire Emblem game, like grid-based strategy game. So I got about 2 hours in, and I'm like, I'm not having fun with this one. But if people like Fire Emblem and they have Xbox Game Pass, give that one a look. Pac-Man Museum Plus, I gave a try. That also was released on Switch. I kind of got bored of it really quick because, again, I mentioned I have that arcade that I have all these games already on it. If I wanted to play them, I could play them there. But the controls just seem squishy to me. I don't know if it's the game or if it's the Xbox controller. The way the D-pad is kind of an 8-way D-pad, which is weird if you think about it. And so things just didn't feel right. But I heard other people complaining that they had the similar issues with the Switch. So it might just be the game. It's emulated badly. As an example, I bought Arcade Archives Burger Time, and I couldn't get past the second level. I'm like, something isn't right. I think the controls aren't responding right. So I went to the arcade and I got to the 5th level. So I'm like, yeah, I know how to play this game. It's just not working on the Switch. Mecha says you probably don't have Pac-Man Battle Royale. I don't, but again, it's not a fun game if you're only playing it by yourself.
It's interesting to me that I've seen lots of complaints about this game. Yeah, it's just kind of like people were kind of like, it's not really.
A lot of the games are unlocked or locked behind doing other things in other games that I don't really want to play this game. I want to play this one, but it's locked.
Yeah, there's that. The controls issue I've heard from other people. I've also heard of people that were having issues with progression in the game, not saving. Like they went and did all this and then that was somebody who was playing on a Switch, and then somebody said that they played it on Xbox and it gave them achievements that they went to see, and then the Xbox came up and said this game doesn't have achievements. So they couldn't look at the achievements that the game had just said they got.
That's funny.
So it sounds to me like it was a hastily prepared cash in.
But it got us Pac-Mom.
Right? I mean, you can go. The crazy thing about it is you can go to the actual website for this game, which I'm on right now. It doesn't even tell you all the games that are on it. It's just like play some of your Pac-Man favorites.
Wow.
Including blank and blank, and that's it.
Because I remember when that was first announced, all the games were spelled out at that point.
Yeah,
well,
that's a selling point.
They're not on the official website.
Weird.
Like I'm having to Google it right now because I'm interested in this, but maybe not if it's crap.
See, I'm looking at my back of my notes. We first knew about this game in November of 2021.
Mm-hmm.
So if you go back to the notes of that show, all those games are there. I remember typing all those games out.
So here are the games. I found it: Pac-Man, Super Pac-Man, Pac and Pal, Pac-Land, Pac-Mania, Pac-Man Arrangement CS version, Pac-Man Championship Edition, Pac-Attack, Pac-in-Time, Pac-Man Arrangement Arcade version, Pac-Motos, Pac-and-Roll Remix, Pac-Man Battle Royale, and Pac-Man 256.
Yeah, I didn't even see 256 anywhere, so I must not only you have to like buy arcade machines and drop them sometimes. You probably have to even get that far in. So
you may have to buy an iPhone in the game. It's going to be you're going to have to work a long time.
Right. Yeah.
Get that. Yeah.
Get that T-Mobile subscription and keep
That's
paying
right.
for that. Okay, so that's all the games that I've been playing. But before I give you the mic, this weekend I have a little show and tell I want to do. This weekend I decided to check out this local antique mall shop. So if you're not familiar with how those work, they're basically a big building, like a big warehouse that has small booths that they rent out to sellers, where they stock it with whatever they want to stock it with, and then people buy them, and then the money goes to the sellers minus whatever the rent is for that booth at that time. One of the booths has a lot of legacy technology in there. So the first time when my wife brought me there and I saw this booth, I looked around, liked a lot of things, but I didn't buy anything. They said, one of these days I'm going to come back. So I went back and I picked up a few items, starting with, I don't know how this will look on you with my background, but it's a giant, it's 3.5 foot Nintendo sign made of wood, painted
That's
red
really
and white.
cool.
So I'll hang that up next to the gift my wife gave me last week. I don't think we talked about it on the show, but I talked about it in the post show. But basically, I got a bar sign that says Nintendo Dads on it. I haven't hung that up yet either, so this will go with it. Then I also picked up 3 Intellivision games that I knew I didn't have. One is complete in box Bomb Squad. I think we paid $10 for this. I checked on price charting and it's about $10 or $12. So yeah, I didn't get a great deal on it, but I didn't lose money on it either. But it's still, a game I didn't have. The other 2 games I got were loose carts. It's Word Fun and Math Fun, both Electric Company branded, and these are apparently rarer than their reprints without Electric Company. I think Word Fun itself might be in the 30s, loose, and I paid $5 each. So
you're very close to Word Muncher and Number Muncher there.
Yes,
very close.
You're getting excited again. See,
Muncher adjacent.
So another thing I saw there, they had a Famicom disk system that said new belt, tested and working, comes with 5 games, but he couldn't see what the 5 games were. He wanted $160. So I'm like,
wait, so you had to buy it without knowing what the games were?
Yes. But
is this like some kind of weird rule? Like, I'd be like, dude, just tell me what the 5 games are. I'll give you $160.
Well, again, the seller isn't there monitoring the booth.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, I'll have to think about that one. So I came home, did some research. When most Famicom disk systems sell for about 80 to 100. When if they're known working, if they're untested as is, they might be a little bit less. I saw one for $20 that says known not working, used parts only, or used for parts only. So I'm okay. All right. So this would be a good value depending on what the games are and what they're worth. So I started looking into value of games. Most games are in like the $15 to $30 range. There are some that are less and some that are more, but most of them fit into the higher range than I would have thought. So I'm like, okay, if 5 games, if they would be worth say $60 to $80, this is a good deal. So I made a decision that night. I'm going to go there tomorrow and buy this. So to prepare for that, because I don't have a Famicom, you can't play a Famicom disk system without a Famicom. So I ordered a Famicom. I found one for $40 that says testing tested and works, $40. It ships from Japan. I ordered that Sunday night, and it came in today. I have it behind me.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
So then Monday morning, I went there and bought the disk system. So I have the Famicom and the Famicom disk system. It didn't come with a power supply though, so I had to order a power supply and a long RF cable because that older system is RF only, like an Atari or in a television.
Yeah.
They don't have RCA unless you mod it.
So they don't make an RF to HDMI.
No, they do not.
Not.
But I want to know what are the games?
If you go through like 3 steps, yes, you can.
Yeah,
fact,
I want to know. I want to know what the games are.
Okay, so I have a list of the games. Again, here's one of the games here.
Ooh. Oh, well, blacked out there. Hey, nice.
I don't have all 5 of them here, but so this game. This game is Edgarland Departure to Creation, which is basically a game in the Adventure of Lolo series.
Oh,
okay.
So, but price charting has no price for this game. Apparently, this is very rare.
Wow.
Nice.
Because when this system game started, they were sold in box with a manual, just like any other game. But later on in the system's life, they had these kiosks that if you had a disc with a game you didn't want anymore, you could sacrifice the game and basically buy a new game to be put on that disc at a cheaper price. So this game was only available through a kiosk.
That's really cool.
I have not seen any known prices of how much this is sold for. I have seen message boards posts going back to 2013 saying, "I want this game. Someone sell it to me." So, so I don't know how much that is worth.
You got a nice score there.
Yeah. So even with everything else, I think I got a good deal with this overall. The price charting has Clue Land, which I think is also similar. It was released as a disc system game very late. It's like in the $400 range for a Clue Land disc system game. So the other games I got, and I'll say the prices according to price charting for a loose disc. Tennis, which is just like NES black box tennis, for $15. The Pachinko Grand Prix, which is less about a little more than $4, so that's the cheapest game of the set. Kinnikuman, I have no idea what that is. I'll have to research what that is, and how it's played. That was just under $13. And the last one surprised me because I didn't even know this existed on the Famicom. It's Puyo Puyo.
Kinnikuman is a superhero who must win a wrestling tournament to return the title of prince to planet Kinniku. This was the basis. Game. This was the basis for the muscle figures that came out in the 80s.
Oh, okay, yes. That's awesome then. That's cool.
Yep. If you go and look that up, it's that's what it's the basis for. It's actually it's a Japanese manga series. So that's a game based on the manga.
Hopefully it's better game than the muscle game we got, because that was trash. Anyway, and Puyo Puyo is worth $27. So for the 4 games that have prices, the totals about $50 to $60, and that doesn't include Eggerland. So I think I got a pretty good deal on everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
I plan on doing, once I get everything working, I plan on doing a live stream and trying these games on stream. It won't be this weekend because of Pokemon. It probably will be next weekend.
I'm excited to see that.
Yeah. I also bought a power downverter because in the US we use 120 volts. In Japan they use 100 volts. So obviously I don't want to zap it.
Oh yeah.
And then it didn't come with a power supply, so I had to order a power supply that, a 100 volt power supply, and It didn't come with an RF cable, but yeah, they're cheap. I bought a 25-foot for like $6 on Amazon.
Gotcha.
So with those, I should be able to hook it up into my system here and be able to live stream it. And that'll be an interesting stream.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks, Jesse. That was super cool. Lots of very cool finds for you. I've been playing a couple of games. Nintendo Switch Sports. I'm still grinding away on that every week, playing bowling to get all the items. Got a level 140 in Fortnite to get ready for the event this weekend. But the 3 games I want to talk about. Number 1 was a game in my backlog, A Short Hike. And I just took some time this weekend and finished that. That took like literally like an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. I didn't find everything, but I found that to be really cool, really relaxing. It was a lot of fun. I liked it because it was very open-ended. You can kind of make your own way to the end, and there is a little bit of story. It's not much, but it's really cool. Somebody asked in the chat, level 140, why 140 in Fortnite? Yeah. So now they've started locking things that they used to give you during the first 100 behind what's bonus pages in the battle pass. And you have to get to level 140 usually to get all of those extra like skin colors and stuff. This time they did it with Doctor Strange. He was at level 100 and they locked his wrap and his contrail behind that. So I could have stopped at like 105. And I just was like, nah, I'll just go ahead and do it all. So the I really feel like they've moved the goalpost on that. And it's like, we want to keep you playing and trying to level up to 140, which increases the possibility of you spending money and buying V-Bucks because here's Obi-Wan Kenobi or here's this. So yeah, I was just done at 140. I was like, I'm out. I need a couple of weeks. I always do this at the end of the season. Like I'm out. I need a couple of weeks to not Fortnite. And then, yeah. Anyway.
Is there a max level you can get to?
300, I think.
Okay, because Ms. in the chat says he's at 249.
So like after
says he's 178.
Yeah, after 140, you start getting color variations of the like 5 different skins from the battle pass. And in the past, it's been like silver, gold, and platinum, or like rainbow hued metallic. There's a variant of each one. So yeah. I've also been playing. I'm going to talk about this. I'm going to talk about the second one last, but I'm going to talk about a game that I'm going to have a video up on our channel of this week called Soldiers, which is, I thought was going to be like a 2D kind of like hack and slash RPG. And it really ended up being like a 2D Dark Souls.
Okay.
So it's like you get in there and you pick your class and you begin to go through, and like at first I was like, oh yeah, this is kind of, it's good. And I made it like into it and it was like, oh, this is really hard. Lots of dodge rolling and, timing and things like that. You can't just go in and button mash your way through it. However,
that's door all over again.
I don't want to say too much about it because there was a day 1 patch. The game is available now. It came out this week on the eShop, and that patch would have already been applied if you bought the game. And there were some issues with it prior to the patch. And I'm going to download that and do the Let's Play with the patch applied tomorrow. So don't count it out. All right. Just know that it's like 2D Souls. All right. So the other game I've been playing
is spelled with an S-O-U-L.
Yes. And that should have been my clue. I was drawn in by the art style. No, I was lured in. The other game that I've been playing is maybe a little divisive, and that is Diablo Immortal. I downloaded this yesterday on my iPhone. I have this handy dandy Backbone controller, and it is so good with this. It's such a smooth experience on the iPhone with the Backbone controller. it's free to play, so you can get into Diablo like an actual, really kind of authentic Diablo game. But the waters are muddied with free to play stuff. All right. It was capable. Let's put it that way. Like, I'm not a huge Diablo fan, but I thought for free to play, sure. I mean, like, let's try it, but it's definitely, I can already see how it's monetized, and it's definitely really monetized. It's a little like it's shamelessly monetized. So I don't know that I'll go back to it. I will probably, like, I played like what was like the first mission, and it gives you a bar and it gives you like a percentage. So I was like playing until that bar got to 100%. And then it was like, you went through a cutscene and it was like the game opened up and it added all this crap to the UI and all this stuff that you could go and do. And I was like,
I hate that.
It was like it dumped it all on you once. It felt very, what is the Genshin Impact? Like, it can't, like, I don't understand why mobile games can't just teach you how to play the game and let you do that for a little bit. It's like, yeah, well, we went through this tutorial. Here's all 200 systems of the game. Blam.
At least if they give you information, like when they're like, oh, here's your login bonus, you got 5 of these and 10 of these, and you're like, I have no idea what these even are.
Yes.
Like, here's 5 of these, here's where they're used for.
Yeah. Or what my favorite, I know you want to play the game, but first push this button first to see how you can.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Push this button to do this. Push this button.
Let's level up your guy. Now that you've leveled up, let's go look at your equipment. And you can't do it. I'm like, I don't want to look at my equipment. I don't need to look at my equipment.
You need to use pay currency in order to do this, but we're going to give you some right now. So why don't you go ahead and try?
Yeah, let's go ahead and speed up the building. Top, top, top. Like, it's just so slimy and grimy. And I probably won't keep playing this, but I wanted the thrill of the first weekend of Diablo Immortal, right?
I feel the same way. I did. I'm a big Mana fan, and they had the Mana mobile game.
Oh yeah,
that came out, Echoes of Mana. I was like, oh man, I'm gonna sign up. I got preloaded, downloaded the first day. I'm like, let me play, and same thing. I was so turned off, and I was like, no, Square, you get none of my money nor my time.
This would be a Square game. Square is still giving me a bad taste in my mouth ever since Chocobo GP.
Yeah.
Well, see, I like Chocobo GP, but I didn't do any of the Battle Pass bullcrap. I played through the story and I unlocked all the characters and I had a blast. I played that game single player and had a blast, and that was done with it.
Our history with it is Tim got a review code, so he has the retail copy. We all downloaded the free because supposedly you can play with your friends, which you can't really play with your friends. You can just play against random bozos.
I played the single player and I enjoyed it, but that's about it.
Yeah. Well, that's what I've been playing. Let's move on to the community spotlights. And as you've heard throughout the show, our guest this week is Barry Carenza from NintendoFuse. And Barry, we want to thank you for taking time to be on the show with us tonight. We've really enjoyed having you as a guest. What we would love to do is give you a spot right here while the community spotlight shines bright to tell people, where can they find you? Where can they interact with you? What is NintendoFuse? Just let her rip, Tater Chip. Give us all the information that you can give us about you.
First off, thank you so much for having me. It's been an absolute pleasure and an honor, and what a fun evening. Loved it. So you could find me on Twitter at Hawk Hellfire, where I'm always talking about video games and sharing stuff from other creators and content creators and just having a ball. So please follow and let's talk video games. Send me a DM. But NintendoFuse, we are a fan website, much like you guys, that put up video game reviews. We do industry talks where we talk with different developers and different people in the industry. We do our own podcast, which is bi-weekly every other Monday. We also do that live on YouTube and Twitch, same like this. So the next one is next Monday, which is the 6th. But that one, ironically, is pre-recorded because one of our guys was out. So that one's actually not live, but the 20th and onward will be live. But when one of us can't make it, we do a pre-recorded just to at least get content out there. But it will still be streamed live. And we just have a bunch of fun. So you can find us on YouTube at youtube.com/NintendoFuse, on all the podcast services, and look up for NintendoFuse, as well as NintendoFuse.com. In addition to NintendoFuse, I'm also with Premium Edition Games. And with Premium Edition Games, what we do is we do physical versions of digital-only titles. Something we've talked a lot about tonight is preservation, is about making sure that games are not lost. And that's exactly what we do. We take digital-only titles and we release them physically. Right now for the Switch, we make sure that those versions are complete on cart, all DLC, all content patches. We want to make sure that that is the final game you're getting. All of our releases come with full color instruction manuals, come with challenge cards where you can complete developer challenges and send us your completion via social media. You can win patches like what I'm wearing right now. Each game gets a patch, which is something we like to do, which is a fun part of the community. We give you slip covers. We give you bunch of stuff. We want to make all our editions like little collector's editions. We got retro editions and Super Nintendo sized boxes with soundtracks and steelbooks and a bunch of other bonus goodies. We really want to do it for the collector and for the developers and just have a good time with it. So right now we have our 4th series of titles, which is Wonderling DX and Rain on Your Parade, 2 phenomenal family friendly and exciting titles available for the Switch, and they close on June 10th. So there's still time to pre-order those. We also have our Series 3 titles up as a second chance sale, the standard versions, which is Cathedral, Phoenotopia Awakening, and Mighty Fight Federation, as well as one of our Series 1 titles, Pigeon Dev Games Collection. Those are all up on our webpage. We've got dog tags that we started doing, so any pre-order, you get dog tags, but we're also selling a starter dog tag set. All of our dog tags are actual, they're printed on, they are not like stickers. Nice. They're real, heavy duty, awesome dog tags. So we'd like to do that as a little bonus as well. So we really are a community for gamers and trying to preserve these titles for these wonderful, amazing, developers, because they're really the rock stars. So you can go to premiumeditiongames.com and you could pre-order those right now and order the Series 3 titles. You could also find us on other partner platforms like Video Games Plus, Bazaar, and a bunch of other retail partners that we have. And you can check us out on social media, on Twitter at Premium Edition 1, and on other social media platforms at Premium Edition Games. Sign up for our newsletter so you don't miss out, because we have some really exciting things coming this summer, like our Premium Edition Classic Series Volume 1, which contains over 10 NES aftermarket homebrew titles ported to the Switch on one physical cart. So that's going to be available. And Series 5 later this year, which includes Raji and Ancient Epic, the enhanced edition, as well as other titles that we can't talk about just yet. But we have a lot of exciting things this year. And, it's awesome being a part of the industry and getting to really work with Nintendo and getting these developers their dream of having a physical Nintendo game.
Yeah. I'm looking around the website right now. This is really cool, man. One of the things I love about this too is not only do you have the games, but you've got some books here. The Switch Collector, so Volume 1 and 2.
Yeah, so the Switch Collector Volume 1 and 2, what those are is we set out to create very big hardcover, silver gilded books to chronologize the entire Switch library. So Volume 1 is the entire first year. It's every physical release in English for the first year, as well as some Japanese exclusives, as well as some digital only titles made it in. Volume 2 is actually the first half of the second year, because the second year is so big. It's a bigger book than Volume 1, and it's only the first 6 months. Each game gets their own, the picture gets a little write-up, the whole 9 yards. You get a checklist for all the games. Really great way to collect and make sure you're not missing anything. And more volumes will follow. Future volumes will probably not have write-ups for games because it's going to take so long to get through with all the Switch releases. So they might just turn into like pictures and a catalog.
I was going to say, you guys have a huge task ahead of you.
Yeah. So, and we're also doing Premium Edition games. So because we have so much on our plate already, plus full-time jobs. So Volume 3 onwards is probably going to be a little more streamlined, at least at the moment. But people are really looking forward to that. But we do have those available right now as well. They've been asking for them, so we wanted to put them back on the webpage.
I will tell you that Rain on Your Parade has the Marty Estes stamp of approval. That's a fun game. I've not played Wonderling DX, but Rain on Your Parade is good fun.
Rain on Your Parade, our physical, contains the DLC because there was additional DLC with new modes and new levels and commentary and a bunch of other stuff, new powers. That's all on the cart, so you're getting the complete game. Wonderling DX is a puzzle platformer where you play the role like a Goomba, the Wonderling, and it's your job to stop the equivalent of Mario, who is Carrot Man, and you have to get different powers. You get the ability to jump. You're auto walking, so it's a puzzle about how do you make it, to the end. There's hidden items. It's a great story, well written, and it's actually written by the completionist's, one of the completionist's best friend. So in true fashion, if you collect everything in this game, including all the DX content, your reward is the completionist beard that you can put on your Wonderling and walk around proud with that completionist beard. Official. It's not even like a mock. It is the official completionist beard. So it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of levels, really in-depth, beautiful, 16-bit art style. The real definition of a hidden gem, just like Rain in Your Parade. A lot of people have never played it, never heard of it, and it's a shame because these games are just a ton of fun.
Yeah. So you guys go over and check out Barry and Hawk Hellfire. You'll go check out NintendoFuse. Go check out Premium Edition games. Lots of cool stuff over there. And here's what we're going to do. If you guys email us, what is this is, again, our email is nintendodads@gmail.com. Okay. If you email us over the next week, your favorite indie game that you would like to see get a premium edition game. All right. Tell us what it is. You'll be entered to win a copy of Rain on Your Parade from us. So if you guys want to email us, nintendodads@gmail.com, tell us what your favorite indie game is you would love to see get a premium edition title, you can get entered to win Rain on Your Parade. And that's for our live things. And Barry, we'll go ahead and order that from you here in just a little bit. And
absolutely,
we'll take care of that. So be sure to email us, nintendodads@gmail.com. We'll give that away in the next week or so. And so be sure to go check them out.
I will say, if you do that, please let me know what the winner is that you pick, and or some of the top ones, and maybe we can make it happen. I can't promise anything, but maybe we can make it happen if the stars align.
Awesome. And that was one thing I was saying is, like, tell us which one that doesn't have a physical edition already, and you guys maybe can chase that down, hopefully, and make that a reality.
There are certain titles that we've never heard of. There's so many games on the eShop, right, every week, and like some of them, like Phenotopia Awakening, for example, was brought to us by a fan, said, try this game out. We looked at it, we said, wow. We talked with the developer, we made things work, and now, sure enough, it's got a physical and it's preserved as it should be. So you never know. We can't promise. Sometimes things are already in contract. Sometimes things just don't work out. But if we can make it work, and if they're willing to talk and we can work, we'll make it happen. And that's
there you go.
What we try to do.
So Jesse, if you'll make a note of that, I think Tim has like a place that he archives stuff, and since he's not here tonight with his family being sick, we might need to have that somewhere.
I'm not sure where he does that. I'll put it.
We'll just notes. You can log it in the notes. That'll be fine. As we tip the community spotlight here a little bit, we want to let you know what's going on in the Nintendo Dads family of podcasts. Game Pass news is at episode 55. Hypecaster Economics 101. They ask, is Xbox Game Pass worth it? They debate Xbox Series X versus Xbox Series S and talk about their thoughts on the Halo series as well as This Week in Game Pass. You can find them on your favorite podcast app or at linktr.ee/Game Pass news or on YouTube. Dads After Dark is back with episode 100, and PlayStation Dads drop soon, trademark. Find them on your favorite podcast feed at anchor.fm/dads-after-dark, or just search Dads After Dark. Retro Logic brings us episode 24 on topic Microsode 4. This one's all about Solomon's Club. Episode 80 of Retro Logic is Mario versus Donkey Kong turning 18, and they talk about their favorite puzzle platform games. And then for Retro Groove, episode 24, They talk about high five, top 5 non-rock musical instruments in Rock Band. You can find more about them at retrologic.games. And now it's time for questions and comments from our community. The first one of these comes from our Discord community from Mecca. He asks us this. This is for all of us. Do you usually pay for gaming or video streaming subscriptions monthly, or if given the offer, pay for them by the year? What determines which game you get on which system? Have you ever double dipped and bought a game on multiple consoles before? And do you care about achievements or trophies at all? That's a lot.
A lot.
So let's start with the first question. Barry, do you usually pay for gaming or video streaming subscriptions monthly or by the year?
I usually do by the year because you get the best rates, and I really only do video subscriptions with gaming, just Nintendo Switch Online with the expansion pass.
Sure.
I don't do PSN or Xbox Live because I don't play them online enough. And if I have to, I'll subscribe for a month or whatever. But I play single player games more than
I got you. What about you, Jesse? Month or year?
Yeah, video streaming, I normally go monthly. Gaming, I try to go yearly if I can. So that's why I'm a little upset that Game Pass Ultimate is not available annually. But when I find if some site, say Newegg or something, has them on a discount, I'll buy 2 or 3 and stock up.
Yeah. So Nintendo Switch Online, I do yearly, just because I think that's
family.
Really,
yeah, if you want the expansion pack, you have no choice.
You have no choice but to do it yearly. Xbox games or Xbox Game Pass is a yearly subscription for me. And then we do Netflix as a monthly. So that's really all we have right now. I do have a couple other monthly subscriptions, though, to like Apple One, which is for our storage and our Apple Music. And there's something that Apple Arcade's bundled in there, too. It was actually cheaper for me to get that all together than it was to do it separately. So I switched over to the one. And then for a time I did Gamefly, and I did it by the month, but I got to where I wasn't using it. So I canceled that.
Yeah, I think I'm annually on Disney Plus. I don't remember.
Oh, yeah.
HBO is.
Disney Plus is annual for me too.
I get Hulu free because it's grandfathered in with my cell plan, and I pay Netflix monthly.
There you go. Okay. Grandfathered in is nice. That's a good thing. Second question was, what determines what game you'll get on which system?
Well, when I was a kid growing up, it was, when I had multiple systems, it was usually whatever the bonus content was. If there was exclusive content for one system, I would usually go for that. Now, since I'm going for the Switch set, I have to get every game on Switch. So if it's a game that I know plays better on PlayStation or Xbox, I will play that version, but I'll still get it on Switch. And if it plays equally, I usually just play it on Switch.
Okay.
Yeah, like I'll get almost always on Switch. If it's, say, an indie game that's on Game Pass, then I'll probably play it on Game Pass and not get it on Switch. But the way I have my setup, I'm not going to stream with my Xbox or my PlayStation because 4K streaming is still pretty processor intensive. I don't even know if my computer can handle it, and it's the way I set up my systems to stream, I'd be looking at a lagged version. So I don't. So if you look at it, if you're looking at it through a pass through on a real TV, it's fine. But I normally, like when I'm playing streaming Switch games, I'm looking at the computers. Basically, I'm looking at OBS's output. So for Switch, it's fine, but on the if I use my 4K capture card, there'll be a delay, and that'll be annoying. So if I plan on streaming or recording, streaming it specifically, I can record footage, and that's fine. But if it's streaming, I have to play it on Switch. So,
interestingly enough, someone asked me in the Discord earlier about the version of Lego Star Wars, the Skywalker Saga that just came out for both Switch and PS5. I was to originally get it on PS5 because that's one of the few games that my wife and I play together that she even wants to play. And so I was like, I want the best version of it. And I knew that I was going to get that on PS5. I'm not interested about the portability of it because we're going to play it together at home. But I also did pick up the Switch version of it because this is silly. When you play it together, it's split screen the entire time, right? Like there's no way out of it. I wanted to play it single screen, but there's a huge difference. Like there's noticeable stuttering on the Switch version that's not present in the PS5 version. The graphics look washed out compared to what you get on PS5, obviously. So like if I'm looking for performance, then I'm going to play it on PS5. But that being said, 99% of the time I play it on Switch because it's all about the portability, right? It's a great point that I made on the show several times, and that is I would love to play Persona 5 all the way through. I don't have the time to sit down in front of my TV and do that when I'm at home, but I do have time when I'm everywhere else, right?
Yeah.
So RPGs, especially, like I'm going to play them on Switch if I get the chance, because that's where they're going to get the most play is handheld, either in my bed or sitting in the car waiting on my daughter to get out of dance practice or whatever, because we're on the go all the time. So that's, and I've said this since Switch came out. If you want a game to sell, just put it on the Switch. Just put everything on the Switch and be done with it. It's not like a black and white decision almost. It's not a black and white decision about graphics, really. It's about the portability of it. Back in the day, I wanted the Mortal Kombat 2 version or Mortal Kombat on the Sega Genesis because it had a blood code you could put in, right? You could play and it was inferior graphically and sonically. It was inferior to the Super Nintendo version, which was closest to the arcade version. But the Super Nintendo version made the blood sweat, and that was stupid. But then by the time Mortal Kombat 2 rolled around, the Super Nintendo version was definitely the superior version, and it had the blood back in. It was the game it was supposed to be. So I bought it on Super Nintendo. So that was like my thought process back then. Now it's like, where can I play it? Do I have to sit in front of my TV? Then chances are I might finish it in like 4 years. But if I can play it Switch, I might finish it this year. Who knows? So that's the thing. Have you ever double dipped and bought a game on multiple consoles before? Yep.
I don't think I've done it recently. I don't think I've bought a game on Switch and PlayStation 5 or Switch and Xbox, but definitely older generations.
Yeah. So everybody on this call right now, if you say you hadn't done it, you were liars because you've bought Super Mario Brothers on multiple systems. Right. I know it. Right?
Yep.
I mean, it's been there. You probably bought it on the Wii for Virtual Console. You had it for NES or on the Super Mario All-Stars on Super Nintendo. You had it. So there you go. I mean,
yeah.
We Nintendo fans love to double dip, right?
I know. So I know I've done it at some point. I can't think of anything, but I can't tell you the last time I did it, and it's been at least a year.
Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga, 2 months ago.
I do it all the time on small print stuff because I know it's small print stuff. So if you don't get it at retail, you're going to be paying for it a lot more afterwards.
Sure, yeah.
So sometimes when it's a small print for PS4 and Switch, I'll grab them both. So yeah, double dip.
I'm trying to think of the last time that I did it, like before Star Wars, and I can't honestly. It wasn't a multiple console, but I had to buy Super Mario 3D Land twice. So
okay, that's I think this is one of the last times I did double dip. I had to buy Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time 3D twice because originally it wasn't available digitally. It was only available physically. So I bought the card on launch, played it through, had fun with it. I wanted to replay it. I couldn't find my cart.
Mm-hmm.
So I bought it digitally. Paid full price, another full price, $40. 2 weeks later, discount down to 20.
Selects, yeah. That's all you had to do. And no, I'm calling your bluff, sir. I'm calling your bluff with Pokemon Sword and Shield. You double dipped technically because you got them both, didn't you?
Yeah, but they count as separate games still.
I didn't. Between me and my
Are
son,
they
maybe.
are they
but he
separate
bought,
games?
They're
but he
separate
bought his own.
releases, yes.
But he bought his own copy.
Well,
I didn't pay for more than one copy of that.
Okay. Well, we'll agree to disagree because I count them as one game.
Which generation?
It's time for
was
that
it?
double version crap to be over with.
Might have
It's
been
done.
Sun and Moon. I think Sun and Moon. I literally bought 4 copies, 2 of each, because I gave one to me and one to each of the kids.
There you go.
Makes
there
sense.
You go. It does make sense. It does.
I think that was the last time I did that. After that,
yeah.
They could buy their own copy if they wanted it.
Okay. Last question. Do you care about achievements or trophies at all?
Normally, no. I do. When I'm with these Final Fantasy games, I'm trying to get as many as I can get. Like things like get every treasure chest in the game. Yeah, those.
Yeah.
That's relatively easy to track. Fill the bestiary. I am 0 for 2 so far, and 0 for 3 because I know I missed a missable mob in 3, so I'm not going to. I didn't get those in any of the 3 games. I think there's an item that I missed in 3 that is impossible to get now without starting over. So I look at them, but I don't go back normally to get what I missed. I think the only time I did that was when I played the King's Quest on PlayStation. I don't think I 100%ed it, but I was like 95% across all the DLCs. I did most of it.
See, what I do is I'll play through a game and whatever I get. And then when I'm done with the game and I say, that's it, I'm done with the game, then I'll look at the trophy list and see what I missed. And if it's something stupid, like I'm asked X amount of gold and I'm like, oh, well, what if I just go to a shop and quickly just sell all my stuff? That gets me the gold. I'm done with the game anyways. I'm just not going to save.
And then
trophy.
You don't save, right.
And then save. And like, oh, we'll craft 3 arrows. And I'm like, oh, I went through this whole game, never crafted arrows. Sure. And I'll do like things like that. Stuff I can do within seconds, I'll do before turning off the game.
Yeah,
but that's about it.
Like, I think Inscription was another one. I went back and kind of backfilled a few of them. Like, do 100 damage in one attack or something like that. And it takes a setup, but it's doable.
Yeah. I don't. Otherwise, I don't really care. Because again, there's some trophies that you have to replay a game to be able to get. And it's like, nah, I don't have the time to replay an entire game if I missed it.
Apparently, I think like my son platinumed Persona 4 or Persona 5 Royal.
Whew, that's a tough one to platinum.
But the Royal is actually easier to platinum than the vanilla.
Royals is such a better game too, in my opinion.
For me, like as I think about this, a lot of times these things popping up in the middle of the game are kind of just a distraction. Like there may be a time a few years ago, like in the Xbox 360 era, that I cared about my gamer score.
Yeah.
But really, I mean, I remember when people were going so gaga about achievements at the very beginning, like they bought the King Kong game because it had like 2,000 points for achievements. It was like you could get it.
The Last Airbender.
Oh yeah. Yeah. You could just play it for like 30 minutes or so and get all the achievements. And that's what to me means to me, they don't make it have any value. Like I get like, it would be a big deal. Like if I got to the end of the game, it was like, oh, you got a platinum and I hadn't tried to, but I did. And I'll be like, oh, okay, that's cool. But people make this case for Nintendo doing them. And I'm like, they don't need to.
They leave it up to each individual.
If the game wants to do it internally, let it. That's fine. That's great. But I don't think it needs it at the system level.
Absolutely.
PlayStation notifications are not that disruptive, but the Xbox
not as bad as Xbox.
Xbox ones are pretty disruptive.
Yeah,
this big old green bar.
I wouldn't mind if it was something like the Switch where it like pops up in the corner and notifies you that a friend's online. Like if it was up in that corner, I don't know that I would mind it, but
I do like I think both Xbox and PlayStation does this, but I'm playing the game I'm playing on Xbox now. I get an achievement. I will push and hold that cross button. I don't know what they call it.
Yeah.
To see what achievement I did and what percentage of gamers have done that. And I think
I do
that's a
like
more
that. I
interesting
think the
statistic.
percentage thing is really cool. I think that's better.
Like I'm getting down to I'm doing things that only 18% of people have done.
I always really enjoyed the end of those Telltale games, like the Batman and Walking Dead, where it would show you at the end,
Yes.
you know, like 39% of people chose to chop Jesse's head off, or what? I mean,
Life is Strange did that too.
But
I don't like this game.
You know, nothing caps off a really emotional moment in a game where you've done something and the cutscene's there and you're just kind of like, what? Nothing caps it off like a big bling and, you know, achievement unlocked. I don't know. If that's your thing, if you like achievements, great. Enjoy them. Get them all. Love it. Here's the next question. Our last question for the night comes from Zablanc. He says, this one hurts. I've played 25 hours worth of Darkest Dungeon and didn't realize that you had to equip the power-up items on each party member for them to be used. So embarrassing. My question for the dads is this. What's a game where you didn't know about a crucial mechanic until deep into your playtime?
Can't think of anything as drastic as this. The only thing that jumps into my head was when I tried playing Persona 3, and I just couldn't wrap my head around it. Just in general, those things I just wasn't understanding.
Yeah.
Later on, I played 4, loved it, went back to 3, and then, now I understand what's going on because now I have the background of playing 4. And so it's not quite the same, but you know, that was just something I was missing and it wasn't clicking to me. That eventually.
Yeah. Barry, what do you got any embarrassing moment like that?
Not embarrassing, but I would say it's more of not using certain mechanics that are in there or not even like experimenting with them. And two games that immediately jump to mind are Horizon Forbidden West and Elden Ring. With Horizon Forbidden West, I had used the bow and arrow, the one I was comfortable with. I used that throughout the whole game. I didn't use traps. I didn't use, all these other special types of weapons. And I was fine. I was able to do it. And then it was like, oh yeah, there's all these other things. I'm like, I didn't need them. Like to me, it was nothing. And the same with Elden Ring. There's like cracked pots and there's potions and there's spells. And I didn't use any of that because I was a fighter. And that's a whole new side of the game that they're going through. And I'm just like, by the way, where is that? Oh, that's in this one area. I skipped that. I skipped the whole second dungeon. How did I skip the second? Okay, well, I'm going to go back at level 100 and massacre the second dungeon because I skipped it. And like all these items, I just accumulated. I had no idea what they were. And I was like, oh, that's a whole mechanic I could have been using this whole time. And like summoning, you can summon spirits. And I didn't learn about that until I was halfway through the game. I was like, I had no idea what these things are. I'm just collecting them. And then I found out, I'm like, oh my God, this would have made the game so much easier for me. So sometimes that happens.
Yeah, I think it's maybe a rush to get to a game or whatever. I mean, you used to have games with instruction manuals. They explained all of that to you, right? And like you could spend time with them. The one that came to mind for me was as a very new to video game, gamer back when I got my NES in 1988. It wasn't long after that I got Super Mario Brothers 2, and I dove straight in, right? Like I just tore it out of the box and put it in and started playing, expecting kind of the same experience, right? So imagine my surprise when I get to the first level, like I drop down out of the first door and I'm jumping up and down on top of a Shy Guy and nothing's happening. I'm like, he won't stomp. What's it, like, well, maybe these guys are, maybe I've got to get something first, right? Maybe I got to get a mushroom or whatever. So I go into the next area, nothing. And there's all these plants in the ground and all I'm doing is like dodging enemies and getting all the way to Birdo without throwing a single enemy. And like he's shooting the eggs and I'm like stomping up, I'm jumping up and down. I'm like, wow, will he not take damage? And finally, I don't know what I did, but like I think buttons. Right. I think finally I jumped on one of the eggs and just errantly pressed the B button and like it picked it up and I was like, what just happened? Because like, okay, video games train you, right? Projectiles equal bad. don't touch projectiles. But now you're supposed to stand on top of this guy's projectiles, pick them up and throw them back at him. Needless to say, I very quickly caught the hang of it and learned from my mistake. I do remember.
This makes me wonder if John has ever played a Dragon Quest game, because those games just beat it into your head that you have to equip everything for it to be useful.
I don't know.
Yes,
I don't know that. I think probably all of us have some story that we can think of. Every gamer has a story where it's like they either went through a text box too fast or a cutscene or a tutorial and were completely lost. And then like maybe the next time you played it, it popped up and you took the time to read it and you went, oh
yeah. I mean,
what happened to me with the last story? Yeah, I got to a stuck point where the game wanted me to learn a new technique. I didn't understand what it was trying to teach me, so it put me into a battle where I needed to use that technique to advance. There was no way to go back to the tutorial screen. So I'm like, I guess I'm done. I can't advance anymore, and that's where I stopped.
I think we've all had moments in games where we've done silly things or things that we just didn't know enough information. So we like you said with Mario 2, where you took the past history of the series as gospel and like, oh, well, if this works in this game, it now works in this game.
One game of past history.
All one game. Yeah, but still, it's still you assume that. I mean, when I first started playing Final Fantasy XI, which was the first online Final Fantasy, I started with my best friend, and we were out there outside of Gustaberg, just fighting stuff, and he got killed, and I was like, oh my god, he's level 3, I'm level 3. Like, what are we gonna do? Oh my god. I'm like, stay there. And I start shouting, anybody have a Phoenix down? Anybody have a Phoenix down? Because Final Fantasy, Phoenix down. I'm a new player. I don't have fun, Phoenix downs. I'm running around the town of Bastok, and I'm like, anybody have a Phoenix down? My friend is dead out there. Please save my friend. And people are like, there are no Phoenix downs in this game. I'm like, what? This is Final Fantasy. What do you mean there's no Phoenix downs? They're like, there's none. You either home point or you get raised. I'm like, can anybody raise? And like suddenly all these people came, and I was like, oh, I didn't know what I was asking for. And it's like silly things like that, but you don't know because you're basing one game off of the previous games in a franchise.
That's a good example.
Well, guys, that is episode 378 of Nintendo Dads. Barry, we want to thank you again for joining us, and we want to remind you, head over and check out NintendoFuse and also Premium Edition Games.com. And reminder, we're giving away a copy of Rain on Your Parade from Premium Edition. You can enter to win that by going over to nintendodads@gmail.com and telling us what indie game do you want to see made into a Premium Edition release. Just email us that, and you'll get entered into a drawing to win a Premium Edition release of Rain on Your Parade. We want to thank our Patreon producers, Dave Ernsberger, Antonio Contronio, Solo Something, Alexander Ocampo, and RJ Kern. And remind you that you can join up over at patreon.com/NintendoDads, where for just $1 a month, you can become part of our Discord. $5 a month gets you, unlocks all of our channels. $10 gets you pre and post show audio. $30 makes you a producer and gets you on the show. You can also head over to Twitch Prime and throw your subscription our way and get access to the Discord as well through that. Head over to nintendodads.org for our latest YouTube videos, tweets, podcast episodes, social media links, our Patreon page, our Extra Life stuff, and the Nintendo Dads shop for Nintendo Dads merch. Reminder, you can find us in most places. Just type in Nintendo Dads and boom, we're there. Patreon, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, YouTube. Just type in Nintendo Dads and we'll be there. Email us at nintendodads@gmail.com or call in and leave a voicemail at 929-256 or 25-NDADS. That's 929-256-3237. I want to say a big thanks to OC Remix for the music used throughout the show. And reminder, wherever you download our podcast, on your app of choice, CastBox, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, Spotify, wherever it is, leave us a 5-star review and some written words. It helps people find the show and pushes the dads up the rankings and lets everybody know about your favorite show. For me, for Barry, for Jesse, and the missing Tim and Justin, this has been Nintendo Dads, episode 378. We'll see you next week, guys. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening into Nintendo Dads.
Nintendo Dads Podcast.